Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
Welcome to the hat rack. Welcome to the hat rack. Welcome to the hat rack. Paging army of one. Flexing his limp, I'd be a pimp. Digital wrecking ball, meet yet another dog mass simp. Arrested, more weird missions of admitted guilt. Barrels of tea just begging to be spilt. Scams, you mean there were lots of signs? You posted a few but can't read between the lines. Fraud and extortion, vast conspiracies. Off a 10K pushed by a set of fleas. It's that umbrella guy getting masked up. Loading the laugh track, gotta get tasked up. Convicts can't set the precedents. Listen and believe just isn't evidence. Rigging cameras on remote control. Defying orders, what a state of goal. Pretending truth is a conspiracy while you're recruiting instability. What you doing, we know you know no. All because you can't get our own show. So you buy someone that's convicted of every lie you've ever depicted.
To quote the judge, he abused his status as a lawyer and conspired to commit fraud and extortion, pled guilty to wire fraud conspiracy, engaged in witness tampering, provided evidence to third parties in violation of a court order, created fake Facebook accounts and used them to disseminate information.
He also allegedly tried to pay and dance at a falsely report essay by the Staten Island district attorney, falsified Facebook and Twitter business records,
Leaked wiretaps,
used threats to collect the legal debt purportedly owed by a co-conspirator, sent a threatening letter to his wife he believed was cooperating with the government, distributed discovery materials, and my favorite was ordered to pay $55,991 in restitution, forfeit $130,000 unfunded, and was sentenced to 48 months incarceration.
there it is, so you don't get it all twisted. That's a mic drop in case you missed. Just another case of wow, you fail while going after Jeremy Hale.
Ooh, baby, baby, baby. What a night. Hey, how's it going, folks? Hope you are ready for a good one. Tonight, I have a guest on too. Gonna work with me on this. Shizzy, how you doing, brother?
Really good, brother. The rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I haven't even begun digging yet. That's just on the surface.
Yes, by the way, everything in the song there, those were actual quotes from a judge. just notes. Those were all real legit quotes about the guy that we're talking about. You know, the guy we're going to talk about tonight. Oh, man. We're talking about Richard Luthman. Now, if you haven't been keeping up, essentially, you've had two people brought into this case. They are, I'm going to call them, quote unquote, advocates. I use that word very loosely, but that's how they self-describe. I would call them something else, but quote unquote, advocates for hire. You know, essentially, yeah, you look, they put up, they want money. And if they get it, well, apparently they'll cover your case. So now I guess they thought this would be a gold mine. By the way, Shizzy, I want to show you something before we start, actually. Yeah, this should be fun to look at. So one of these folks was Michael Volpe. You know, I don't like using their names lots, but I'm going to I'm going to note this since, he put up a Substack and he quotes me in a letter exchange. And I found this interesting. And I'm going to show you this. He says that you and I, we were both invited to come on the program, but we both declined. And he put in a message from me. You can see this where I say, thanks, but no thanks. I was informing counsel, so he couldn't deny who Luthman is, especially given today's behavior. I imagine the antics he helped fundraise for, along with the PR team, come up in court. Now he ends there. Now, I thought this was fascinating because this isn't actually our email exchange. He doesn't put in why I said that I don't want to deal with him. It wasn't about, that was just one little message. See what happened yesterday. So they can't deny all of those quotes. The reason I put them in the beginning with music is because I mailed all of those to BBB. I made sure that he knew who he was dealing with. And he won't be able to deny it later on because I have a feeling this shit is going to come up in court. And he likes to say, I didn't know. Well, I documented that he knows. He went with whataboutism, by the way. What about Wes? You believed him? And I'm like, no, actually, I believe your client, buddy. I believe your client on body cam footage and more, but that's beside the point. The actual exchange, let me pull that up. That might be fun. Yeah, don't you think?
Yes. Exciting. I love it.
Right. So you'll now in this, let me make sure everything is in order. Just give me 1 second here. I'm making sure they're all in in order here. There's actually a few exchanges. And the way I've set this up, I have you'll just see Michael. I have actually taken his face off. I don't have to do that, but I did anyway, because they whine a lot. You can see that is me saying what he just quoted there, right? And he leaves out. So him, and you'll notice they've all been tagged in. They tagged themselves in. Bruce tagged these guys in. Boy, the stuff Luthman puts in is nuts. He's fucking nutty. But Volpe is like, so you insult people from afar. You don't have the guts to say it to their face. Cowardly, if you ask me. I reply and say, well, to be blunt, I caught what you said about your quote-unquote source you were living with and having relations with. You called her a victim in your reports right up until she accused you of something, right? Then she wasn't. She was a liar, according to you, yeah? And we know how that concluded. At best, you had sex with an emotionally unstable woman as you attacked another person while calling her a victim, right? At worst, yeah, I'm not coming on your platform and endorsing you in any way, you piece of shit. So his response to that was, good for you. This whole thing is confusing. You're willing to say it in an email, but not to our faces. So I said, well, I think I made it exceptionally clear. Based on your own words, I believe you abused your position to exploit a vulnerable, possibly unwell woman. As you did that, you used that position to attack another party on behalf of said woman, seemingly exchanged for certain types of favors, as evident by you living with her and the pregnancy. She gets pregnant. Then you end up getting her pregnant. She ends up accusing you. Suddenly, she's not a victim anymore. She's a false accuser. And we know what you did with her, don't we? Up until the accusation, you didn't disclose this to anyone. And you said this would have possibly ruined you. I think you're right. You relayed this too. It isn't rumor, it's your words. So bluntly, I heard your interview where you disclosed it, and I heard your side. I think you're a scumbag. I'll cover a scumbag, but I don't want to associate with you in any way. I don't know how to make that any clearer.
Yeah, that's exactly the correct response.
So he's like, well, you made it clear. You talk tough because you're too cowardly to debate. You attack me from as far where it's safe. So I laugh. Ha, 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 ha. I'm like, I imagine that approach has worked well for you in the past, but I'm not some mentally unwell woman you can manipulate, get pregnant, and then, well, you know how that went, yeah? Well, your boy sounds like he's been snacking on paint and filling time bomb challenges. You might want to check on him.
That's oh, oh
So
God.
his response is, "You're a coward who repeats himself. You're also a very nasty person. The invite is open despite your nastiness. It's weird to you say I do PR, even though I invite you on." I was like, LOL, nasty, LOL. I've seen how you treat friends and how you advocate for victims. Your type should come with a warning sign. And paint chips there? Yeah, I got his inclusion today and exactly what you guys represent. When he gets banned for it, and he probably will, and you have him on, it may cost you your channel. So that was actually the exchange, but he conveniently left all of that stuff out because, well, that might tell somebody about the problem there, and no more of that fundo mundo, you know.
Yeah, that means that anybody that's going over and supporting this writing would be supporting this kind of behavior.
By the way, if people like this content, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you hit the old like button. Tell people that we're on, and if you'd like to go further, make sure that you throw those breadsticks because they want some breadsticks and they ain't getting none. Yeah, you want to hear a really crazy email that I got?
I'm in complete awe. I'm enjoying this so
Oh
far.
my god! Hey, chat, would you like to hear a really crazy email that I got? Like a really crazy one.
Oh, come on, chat. You know you want it.
Okay, let me pull this one up. I wasn't planning on going over this one, but I will. Now I'll leave out certain things. So I had Luthman. Now Luthman, he actually made some really weird comments. He clarified, by the way, that he wasn't just accused last night in a different exchange. He managed to clarify that he wasn't just accused of the things I noted. He was actually accused, and he says afterwards, "Oh no, but totally not me." He says he was actually accused of many other horrible things, and including threatening to dismember his ex-wife. Fascinating, you know. So
Whoa.
yeah,
I mean, I
he
know the
called-
guy's hungry, but geez, paint chips, he should just stuck with those.
Yeah, I mean, he apparently didn't like me calling him paint chips. So what he did is he decided afterwards that he would mail not only me, but he would attempt to mail my wife as well. Now, when he did this, by the way, he didn't know her address, so he just picked random addresses that he thought might be it, and he mailed that out along with phone numbers attached and other things. So that by itself is a problem for him because mailing out people's sensitive material to just random people, yeah, that's not exactly a good thing, especially given this guy's background. This is Luthman, just to make that very clear. So he puts in the, "Hey, I have you, that umbrella guy, Tug, and your wife on this email. I'm writing a story on Jeremy Hale's anti-Semitism." Now, this is going to get really crazy. Okay, this is some batshit crazy stuff, all right? And I'd love for you both to comment. I wanted to give you a chance to counter claims. Both of you are eugenists, and you believe in eugenic philosophy. The Yahtzees, that's what they were about. And in line with, well, let's just say a certain mustache wearing guy. This is what he says. The platform doesn't like all these names. So in Yahtzee Germany, I would love for you to go on the record with your side of the story. Then he puts in some ridiculous, like, freaking he tries to advertise his Substack to me. "I know that since Preston and Cook are public figures in your opinion, then the both of you must definitely be public figures." It's fascinating, by the way. So I guess they're to the point that they're just admitting the thumbnail lawsuit was garbage and they've lost on the public figure debate. Awesome. So do you believe that there is a quote unquote master race and the philosophy of eugenics is virtuous and moral? Do you support mock journalist Megan Fox view on eugenics applied to children? Now listen to this. He puts in a quote. All right. This is a quote from Megan Fox on Twitter. Now, this is supposedly about Jewish people and eugenics. Okay, but listen to this. She says, unpopular opinion. Let the kids eat Tide Pods or nutmeg or whatever dumb thing TikTok tells them. Best a few learn the hard way rather than impose all the safety laws on everyone else with higher IQs than amoebas. So is he saying that Jewish kids eat Tide Pods? I don't understand.
I would hope
that seems
not.
very racist or anti-Semitic or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what does that even mean? Oh, it's going to get crazier. This letter is going to get much, much crazier as we go forward. All right. So he's like, are you anti-Semites? Do you hate Jews? Do you support Jeremy Hale's version of anti-Semitic? Thanks, by the way, for writing this dumb shit in something. And he attaches Bruce, by the way. Let me just spoiler here. He attaches Bruce, and he wrote this to the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. So, Bruce, you brought in some crazy.
Is he trying to run an advertisement? I mean, the wording sounds like he's trying to run an advertisement, and it's failing miserably.
No, what he does, look, what he's done in the past. Actually, let's put this up on the screen while we're talking about this. So, one of the things that he got in trouble for, and he got in real trouble for, was creating fake Facebook profiles. When he did this, now this is just one of his lighter things that he got in trouble for, right? But I redacted, so I don't want them trying to false flag, by the way, because I know how they love that. So that's his name. Anytime that's the only name that's redacted on that. Okay.
So wearing a white face mask and khaki prison garb, Paint Chips spoke only intermittently to plead guilty to 3 counts of falsifying business records and 2 election law charges. The case was prosecuted after New York One revealed that Luthman was responsible for creating several Facebook pages in candidates' names to try to influence political races. The pages Paint Chips created and operated looked like pages the politicians they impersonated might have created themselves. That sounds real familiar.
Yeah, doesn't it? Now, this is something we've seen a lot of, isn't it? We've seen a lot. Let me zoom in this part here. Yes. So this part right here is something we've seen a lot. We have fake profiles that look just like the real deal. Only, well, they're not, huh? So you want to continue? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the pages Paint Chip created operated looked like pages of politicians that were filled with fake items that were politically harmful to those politicians, like one in which the politician voiced support for a local homeless shelter. Paint Chip said it was simply a political dirty trick, a stance that hasn't changed despite his guilty plea. Defense attorney Mario Romano told New York One, I think that he thought he was playing right at the line of the rules. Well, Paint Chip's sentence also comes with orders to stay away from several prominent Staten Islanders with orders of protection for Staten Island.
Orders of protection. Look, all of these people.
Staten Island District Attorney Michael McMahon, City Councilwoman Debbie Rose, former Assembly candidate Janine Materna, Democrat Party figures John Guglielmo and Stuart Brinker. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is like, you've got the district attorney and you've got a protective order not to be around this person.
Is that the same district attorney? He was accused of trying to hire an exotic dancer. That's the wording it uses in the thing. Yeah. So the exotic dancer to basically claim that exotic dancer had been SA'd, I'm going to say. Yeah. Something that's fascinating, right?
Well, Nelson explained that decision, saying it wasn't just electioneering, it was some personal things that took place regarding each of the individuals, and I'd rather be safe. He was sentenced to time served and 2 years probation.
So it was also personal things. So he goes out and he constructs fake narratives. Huh? What's that sound like? That's why I brought it up with the email here, because yeah, I mean that does sound kind of it sounds kind
Especially
of like
if
what we're
he's saying
hearing.
these things about you, saying that you're eugenicist or whatever the heck that's supposed to mean.
Yeah.
So he's saying that, and he's creating a false narrative. And I, after doing a little bit of searching on this guy, it seems to me that he creates his own echo chamber.
Oh
So it
yeah.
gives
He
it some sort of
creates
legitimacy.
the own names there. So he continues, by the way. He's like, are you anti-Semites? Do you hate Jews? Do you support Jeremy Hale's version of anti-Semitism? It's like, what? Now, of course, they're trying to claim that if you say somebody with a big nose has a big nose, oh, you're insulting them for that. And when you call a guy Deuce foreskin, oh man, apparently bringing up foreskin, apparently that's up. That's supposed to be anti too. It's like, are you kidding me? But he goes further. He's like, do you support that version or another version you ascribe to? Do you agree with the political conclusions of, again, Mustache Man's, his book that he wrote? Yeah. So are you, or do you believe that Megan Fox and Jeremy Hales are insensitive to the systemic murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust and anti-Semitic hate that persists to this day when you perpetuate hate by denigrating names like Deuce Foreskin and Big Nose for Jewish attorney Bruce Matskin? Are you kidding me? This dude is wacko, man. This is fucking crazy. Are you willing to apologize for your remarks? I wonder if you apologize to your victims. Don't you keep saying, by the way, did you, when you bilked $550,000 in restitution? Actually, he one of the words that comes up a lot in this stuff is disabled. I wonder when he. Well, we'll get to the disabled guy. Actually, I think we'll cover that next.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we'll go over that part. Are you willing to apologize for those? Are you willing to disavow the remarks? I can't speak I can't speak to the full pain these statements have caused because I'm not Jewish. I do not have relatives dying at camp and from religious persecution at the hands of scummy humanity and then face constant waves of so many corners. And it goes on and on. It keeps going on. But he tells me to. He copied the ADL. He also is trying to make Volpe a person who escaped Jewish persecution from the Soviet Union. They, of course, don't mention any of the extracurriculars that we've talked about there. None of that comes up. But like I said, now they've all denied that they've tried to bring my wife into this, right?
Yeah.
So they've all denied that. Well, like I said, he not only tried that, he didn't have an email. So he just wrote to random emails that he thought might be that name. He put in
That's
phone
not a
numbers.
very smart idea, because that
No,
would be doxing, wouldn't it?
it would when you put in phone numbers that may or may not be correct. He put in a bunch of them. And again, he has no idea. Like, I'll tell you for sure. I'll say he got some stuff wrong in that. He puts in other stuff too. But that seems to be par for the course for the guy. That seems to be what he's brought in for. Now, speaking of, let's I actually want to get to there's so much.
There is so much. It was like in a half an hour, the amount of stuff that I pulled up, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, let's pull up the Eastern District of New York statement. What about that? What do you think?
Oh, that is a beautiful one. That is beautiful.
Yeah, we have Paint Chips lured victim to his law office where two of his co-defendants extorted victim at gunpoint. Now, through this, there's actually, we could read the breakdown synopsis of it, or we could actually look at the filing that goes along with this. The actual filing.
Filing might be much more interesting.
Yeah, there's some really fascinating stuff in the filing. Now, we're not going to review the whole filing on that.
No, because it's long.
Yeah, it's very long, but we'll review the decision and the disbarment. By the way, he was a lawyer, but he got voted 9-0 for disbarment. By the way, he was disbarred for this stuff. He goes again to jail for 48 months. He's sentenced to restitution numbers. Again, put all that in the song for you. But I thought this was interesting where we start out here. In or around, and now we're going to get to the part of that, but I thought this was interesting because we talk about scams a lot, right? And I noticed
Yeah.
the ecosystem is avoiding this subject here. Actually,
Yeah.
you want to read that little 40 there?
Yeah. In or around early December 2015, while co-conspirator 1 was in the hospital recovering from heart surgery, Paintchip made the following charges to the firm using the credit card. 1, 2,500 on or around December 2nd, again around December 3rd, again around another one on December 3rd, and another one on December 7th of $4,000 on December 7th, and another $4,000 on December 7th. And neither the client nor co-conspirator 1 was aware that Paintchip was using the debit card.
The
These
client.
transactions, the client. These transactions were processed using a credit card processor at the law office.
Huh. So, that's not good, is it? Using client and co-conspirators. So then we get to this wonderful part called luring, gunpoint extortion, and confinement of co-conspirator number 1. This is fascinating. Like I said, we'll get to the whole decision and everything, but I just thought this would be interesting there. I'll read 43, and then you want to do 44. We can change them up.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds
So
great.
43. Both during and after the scrap metal fraud, Paintchips demanded legal fees from co-conspirator 1 that Paintchips claimed he was owed for various cases in which he represented co-conspirator 1. Co-conspirator 1 was never provided with billing records or an account of outstanding fees, but he sporadically paid Paintchips when Paintchips demanded money.
And in or around January 2016, while co-conspirator 1 was recovering from heart surgery, Padula III visited him and informed him that Paintchips wanted co-conspirator 1 to pay Paintchips the legal fees that co-conspirator 1 purportedly owed him. Well, co-conspirator 1 gave Padula cash to pay Paintchips, but was short approximately $7,000. Well, Padula 3 agreed to loan co-conspirator 1 the $7,000.
So in or about summer of 2016, co-conspirator 1 began a new scheme to defraud using a company that co-conspirator 1 and another individual operated. Co-conspirator 1 did not include Padula in the scheme, in part because he did not want to share the proceeds with him.
Oh, so then in or around August 2016, Paintchips told co-conspirator 1 that Chinese men had shown up at the law office, one with a pew-pew looking for Omni, because the address for the law office was listed on all of the Omni documents. Well, and Paintchips said he had a private investigator research these men and learned that they were members of Chinese organized crime. And Paintchips and Padula, well, they told the co-conspirator 1 that they had the defendant Michael Beck, whom Paintchips and Padula described as an enforcer for the organized crime family of which.
So check this. Look, they're working with an organizer for organized crime as part of this. All right, that's the accusations there.
And so Padula III's father and uncle were members and muscle for Padula III. Conducted a sit-down with the Chinese men in an attempt to solve the matter. At the direction of Paintchips and Padula III, co-conspirator 1 paid $23,000 to Padula 1 to provide back, and was told that by Paintchips and Padula that they would also each pay $20,000 to Beck. Well, Paintchips and Padula told conspirators 1 that Beck and Padula's uncle had a sit down with the Chinese men and resolve that little conflict.
All right, now look at how this plays. All right, so in or about December 5th, 2016, Paintchips arranged for co-conspirator 1 to come to the law office under the guise of having co-conspirator 1 sign some legal paperwork and to meet before going out together for the evening. When co-conspirator 1 arrived at the law office, Paint Chips was not there. So Paint Chips sets him up. That's exactly what's going on here. Co-conspirator 1 contacts ye old Paint Chips, who told him to wait inside a conference room in the law office, which is referred to as the room, which had only one door.
Oh boy, this is not looking good.
No, it's not good.
While co-conspirator 1 was sitting in the room, Padula and Beck entered. Co-conspirator 1 tried to run to the door in order to get the hell out of that damn room, but Beck blocked him, pushed him, and told him, "Son, sit down." Well, Beck then pulled out a pew-pew, aimed it at co-conspirators one's head and knee. While with the pew-pew still out, Beck told co-conspirator 1 that co-conspirator 1 owed Beck $10,000 because Padula had loaned co-conspirator $7,000. Well, Beck, he then purchased that debt and added a $3,000 interest payment. Well, Beck then handed the pew-pew to Padula and left the room, instructing Padula to pew-pew the co-conspirator in the knee. After Beck left, Padula took the bullets out of the pew-pew in front of co-conspirator and told him Beck was serious. Padula the third walked co-conspirator 1 out of the law office and told co-conspirator 1, "Son, you better not call them their police."
So there's your setting up a person having, again, extortion set up with EO Pew Pew, working with organized crime, according to the allegations here, muscle for the mob, so they could extort somebody, get money out of them. So when we're talking about people that are being brought into this, we are actually talking about some very, when I say unsavory people, I'm being very serious. These are the things the ecosystem is ignoring flagrantly. These are also the people. This guy is a convicted fraudster and an extortionist. We will see that in just a second. But I want to note that because there's money being raised. They have been promoting a $10,000, I'm going to call it a fundraiser. It's not a GoFundMe. I can't remember what.
And look over there in your chat real quick. Jeremy just asked a really interesting question.
What's that?
He said, "What do you think will happen to Bubbles when he doesn't pay?"
That's very true. I mean, what if these people can't get their money? I mean, hey, it was interesting. Actually, with all of this, I found, so I was talking about the email exchanges from the other night, right? Now, I'm going to read you something where he's definitely making threats. He's just trying to play it off. And I thought, I don't care. Fuck him. He's not going to threaten me away from this. But
No.
I did find this to be rather interesting. So he came in with some craziness. I'm not going to read all of his craziness there, but let's see. He says, after I had talked about the last comment to Volpe, he says, "Oh, he's my name." He's like, "I got him, effing lightweight. My opinion," he says some nasty stuff out there, "Oh, get Bruce back on the string. He's the only one not afraid of interviews. He's going to have to explain who all these garbage pail kids are." So I said, "LOL, Paint Chips. I don't need to speak to you. I read all about you. Two-bit con, convicted, forced to pay back $550K and get back another $130K. Thinks he's a tough guy. Makes threats and challenges when he doesn't get his way, but has others put in the work. Well, I'm not some disabled man. You can threaten and you cry and come on my stream. It's just going to make me laugh more. BBB couldn't have found a cheaper pair of rent-to-own losers if you try." So then he says,
I love it. This looks like Aaron's rants or something. Oh, the interest rate.
"Will you take a Mike Wallace style interview? Let me know. I'll come by with my film crew." Now, he doesn't, obviously. He's been crying about how he's destitute and stuff. That is a very much not so veiled threat. I'll come by. I live in the very deep South. That would be a very, very dumb thing to do, Paint Chips. Very, very dumb thing to do, And then he asked, "For the record, do you stand with the anti-Semite?" And I was like, huh. And I was like, LOL, swing by my house. You're a bit on the husky side for that prison revisit, Paint Chips. And buzzwords, I'll yawn. Of course, someone that doesn't do research grabs onto one and calls it quote unquote journalism. Then again, being rent to own probably keeps you on a very tight leash. Enough chatter for the night, Big Fun. Enjoy your Tide Pods. You know? And his response to that was, if I wanted to do you harm, you wouldn't see it coming.
Now that is a threat.
Yes, that is. But then he wants to follow it up with, I'm totally not threatening you. I want you to live a long, safe, miserable life. It's like, sure, okay. But the harm you do to others must be exposed. You have a scintilla of talent. It's a shame you're a hypocrite. So I drafted up something, and I was like, man, this is going to go on all night. So I'll just read what I was going to say there, Wouldn't see it coming. You sure wouldn't be the one putting in work then, Big Fun. Man, like the eclipse of the sun, man. Like, woo. By the way, glad you included parts of your resume to BBB that I omitted. Threatened to have his wife dismembered is a doozy. Many other wonderful things in there too. And he did. He actually wanted to set the record straight, which are again, I took them as low key. He's trying to flex at the same time, it's so crazy. He wanted to make sure that I remembered and to note this. He told me, don't forget to do a good job. Don't forget everything that the DOJ and the FBI said about him. They also said, quote, we discussed this, held a client at gunpoint over unpaid bills. Quote, tried to have a local Democratic Party leader whacked. Quote, tried to have a local Democratic Party executive director's hands broken with a hammer. Quote, threatened to have his wife dismembered. Quote, am associated with mobsters, really dangerous Italian, New York mobsters and La Cosa Nostra, and so on and so forth. But those right there, he was like, oh, don't forget those. I'm like, This guy's used to thrashing about and getting his way. That's the way these people are. They think that they can just make up shit, do whatever. But I mean, this guy has a hell of a record. So
is he like one of those little creatures that you find in the desert, and what is that, Australia, where they have the little fluffers that come out? We should call them little fluffer men, little paint
fluffer. He's a fluffer.
Yeah, because it gets those little things, and it looks like it's this scary prehistoric monster, and it doesn't have any teeth or venom or anything. It's all for show.
Oh yeah, those lizards that have the pop-up thing. Yeah, I can't remember what they're called. Yeah, I can't remember what they're called at all. Give me a second. Let me continue rolling up. But in my chat, I gotta catch it up. 1 second. Sorry. By the way, again, if you enjoy the popcorn moment, apparently these guys, they think they deserve the moolah. They about it, and it's funny. They've been begging and begging and begging. But if the ecosystem, like I said, I hope if nothing else, this actually, for real, I'm going to be serious for one moment. I don't like a lot of the people that are involved with the ecosystem. I think there's some very bad actors, but even bad actors don't deserve to be scammed. I don't think anyone should. I think they are allowing their audiences to be scammed by these folks. They're not telling them that these are... Volpe pointed out to me the stuff that I noted about him that could be found easily within a Google search, 2-minute Google search. And he's right. So I'm going to assume that all of them know about this. They're just dancing around that. They're dancing around the first thing that you find when you look up Luthman's name is this. You find U.S. versus Paint Chips. And it tells you, right when you roll down through here, it actually tells you straight up in the intro, the defendant here, Paint Chips, abused his status as a lawyer and conspired to commit fraud and extortion. He, together with others, devised a scheme to defraud export companies purchasing scrap metal for shipment to foreign customers, and then organized a scheme to extort a co-conspirator. While a trial release following his arrest, he engaged in witness tampering and provided evidence to third parties in violation of a court order. Following a forensic mental health evaluation, he pled guilty to wire fraud conspiracy under, again, they give the whole 18 USC, an extortionate collection of credit conspiracy. Although he was remorseful for his conduct, alcohol and drug abuse recovery, so he blamed it on alcohol and drugs, of course, running out there doing that. Yeah, okay. His crimes were absurd, bizarre, and ruthless. That's what they note that as. But remember, he pled guilty to fraud and extortion. So this is not like some conspiracy here or anything else. That's just being legit, being 100% about it. This is what the ecosystem is not sharing.
Well, of course, why would they share that? Because that would, it's you have to forgive people for their past. Like forgive the Cankle twins for their past transgressions, and I think that everybody deserves a little bit of grace, and except whenever they
your money, baby.
Continue to do the same thing over and over again. It goes to show cause. It goes to show a pattern of that they haven't learned their lesson. They're not really sorry about the things that they've done. They show no remorse and no feelings for anybody else except for themselves. And I would be interested in knowing what drugs he was taking, because it would have been the wacky tobacco, because there's no way he would have done anything like the Colombian booger sugar, because, well, the size of him.
Indeed. Also, I don't want to leave out he was sentenced to 48 months incarceration, followed by 3 years supervised release. So he got the old 4 score, and 3 years ago.
And so how long ago did his supervised release end?
Oh, it couldn't have been very long ago.
Maybe that's why he's all fired up now.
2021. Oh yeah. But this is interesting. We've actually been looking at other stuff. There's more, by the way. I mean, we're going to cover more here, but there's even more that we're finding. And what I'm seeing here is very troubling. I've got to look more into something, but it looks like there's a group of these folks that go out.
Megan says just recently 2024.
Yeah, that would make sense, because 2021 release, so that would make sense very much. But there's a group of them that, they've been involved in some really interesting things, considering especially like the things they don't disclose. Like I talked about Volpe, for example. He didn't disclose the fact that he was having relations with a person. Again, you think about how egregious that is. If everything was gravy and nothing went wrong, you're not disclosing that you're writing attack articles on behalf of somebody that you're living with and having relations with. That's messed up. But then it goes further, and there's the pregnancy, then there's accusations, and suddenly the person is no longer a victim. Now they're a monster. Now they're these things. So either they were mentally unstable and they took advantage of them there, or God knows. I mean, but the one thing that sticks out there is they were more than willing to attack when it came to somebody, knowing that it was wrong for them to do it, not disclosing it. They said that would have ended their career, but it never became a blip on the radar. They've actually been running out there doing God knows what for years, and many of the things out there look very, there's some questionable stuff. When you're attacking people and saying that somebody is a victim and somebody else, if there's a victim, obviously there's a perpetrator. If you're going out and you're collecting something from that person in order to tell that story,
yeah, that puts you in a bit of a conundrum of ethics.
Yeah, it's Oh, it's interesting. I wonder how many things are are actually tainted in some way. So it'll be
Well,
interesting to continue to look at. Now, I'm thinking, I don't know. We can do one of two things. We can either look at this report or we can look at the disbarment report. You know, they're both long. They both cover the same stuff in a way, but the disbarment report, it's lengthier, but I think it gets into
it's
more detail.
I think that sounds like a wonderful plan right there.
All right, now
Yeah, that disbarment
remember,
report.
Luckman. They were saying that he was that he that he was a lawyer, right? We're getting the opinions on a lawyer. What they don't tell you, and I'm going to fast forward over something here. You notice like many pages, right? Well, at the end of this, you have a voting record. At the end of the voting record, this is voting for disbarment. And you notice everyone is like, yeah, we should disbar this person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking to see we got Sarah. I'm just curious if he's ever gone on the attack of any single one of these members of that bar committee.
Well, it's fascinating. Again, you know, you've got all these people in politics that he definitely we had protective orders with those. But I mean, again, like this person has a heck of a background. So let's you want to go page to page? I think we can go that way.
Yeah, we can do that.
Now, there's a few pages here. By the way, I'm going to shield again real quick since we have 3,500. I'm going to do two things. First of all, if you like this content, go check out Shizzy Wisnut. You should check out his channel, baby. He needs it. And he loves it. He love you long time.
Oh, many times. Who's your daddy?
Many times. No, he's a very good researcher for all the pretend goofiness and everything else. Like, I don't know anything now. He's an excellent researcher. So yeah, he is.
I have fun researching it, and I write some wonderful letters. It got him all upset, didn't it?
Oh yes. Those exchanges got them very, very angry yesterday. I noticed he left out your entire letter. He was just like, both declined.
Yes. I don't think he could put in the letter what I actually said.
Actually, you know what? You should cover that. Like maybe the next time, you know, your next live stream, you should cover your letter. That would be really
but now I did cover the letter that I wrote, the open letter. I covered those, but I do have another special letter that I wrote to him declining that invitation. And I was very specific why I declined that invitation.
Well, you know what I found fascinating, and this is what BBB does with a lot of his filings. He sent out that the reason I got interested in this person at all is because BBB sent out a Substack attached to them. He was like, look at their articles. Well, it had a couple of names on it. I was like, I wonder who these people are. You know, I don't know one of their names for sure. So when I looked up Luthman, wow. wow. I found some, again, like he said, it was correct. You know, it took a very short look. But interestingly, BBB blank carbon copies. You can't see all the people on there, but he blank carbon copies every moron and their mama plus all of us. he puts us all in there. And when like I said, I responded to BBB and I told him, like, I wanted to make this very clear. Again, I don't want him denying in the court who he recruited and helped fundraise. He cannot deny it. And they're continuing to share articles after I've done that, all that stuff they're doing today and more. Yeah, they were informed 100%. There will be no denial that transpired. And he chose to ignore it. In fact, he didn't just ignore it. He tagged those two guys into it. That's where all this other bullshit comes from. Because he brought them in, because there is attack dogs, 100%. You know, I mean, Luthman comes storming in, and let's say, how's the nice way? Well, you know, there's another room for Rooster, and you know, sucker. So we'll put those two words together. Yeah. He's like, who is this? Yeah.
Who is this rooster?
It's like, well, okay, okay, Chubbs, you settle down, settle down. I can imagine his little arms waving around when he gets mad.
If he can lift it up high enough.
You got to raise your hand when you speak to me, son.
Oh God, I wanted to say something. I'm so glad I didn't.
I almost called him drumstick too. I kept imagining like a Thanksgiving turkey, like throwing his fit. I'm like, I only partake in a turkey once a year, drumstick. I thought about that one too, and I was like, well, I could have gone on all night doing that stuff, but apparently.
Paint chip is perfect. I mean, because it being his first name being Richard, you shorten it down. It's Dick. I mean,
I had a friend that I used to say, I'd tell that. I'd be like, so Dick is short for Richard? And he'd be like, yeah, wait, no, wait, yeah, wait, no. Like, all right. Which is it, sir? I don't realize.
Well, there was a chiropractor. I think it was a chiropractor. Yeah, it was a chiropractor in here in Georgia. His name, and I joke not, was Richard Head.
Those are some parents that hate you.
I think so.
I think your parents really hate you. If you didn't change your name to that, then your parents are really, really some mean people. But the other shill part, let me throw this in here too. Make sure you tell people we're live. Make sure you like, subscribe to Ye Old Channel. And again, if you'd like to go further, because they want the breadsticks and they can't get any, well, they are appreciated here. A lot of work goes into our crazy. So if you like it and you want to support it, boom, it's appreciated. All right. So let's read this one. I'm gonna start here with this is a long document, but again, it'll go over everything. So to the Honorable Chief Justice and Associated Justices, the matter was before us on a motion for final discipline filed by the AOE, following respondent's guilty plea and conviction in court to 1 count conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit extortionate collection of credit. You want to pick up here? Like, you can skip certain things if you don't think they mean anything.
No, that's fine. The AOE asserted respondent's convictions associated with misconduct violates these rules. Material fact to a third person when disclosure is necessary to avoid assisting a criminal or fraudulent act. 2 instances of commission of a federal act that a criminal act that reflects adversely on the lawyer's honesty, and that's very important. Trustworthiness or fitness as a lawyer. I'd just say fitness in general.
This also still for real. Fitness. No stair climbers today. But but I think that reflects on even now, even after disbarment, when you're talking about somebody again that's sitting out there playing journalist and pretending to be an impartial advocate. I mean, look at these things and think about honesty, trustworthiness, and fitness.
Well, and they're wanting to interview you and I, and I'm just like, what? Why would you want to interview? I don't trust you any further than I could throw you, and I don't have a catapult hard enough to throw you very far.
Exactly, indeed.
2 instances to conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice. That's those witness tampering pieces.
Yep.
For the reasons set forth below, we determined to grant the AOE's motion for final discipline and recommend to the court that respondent be disbarred. Respondent was admitted in 2004 into the New York bar in 2006. And at relevant times, he practiced law with a particular law firm. He also maintained a law office in his own.
Yeah, that's in the
Although,
area, so I took it out. Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Although respondent has no history of final discipline in New Jersey, on May 15th of 2019, the court temporarily suspended him based on the criminal misconduct underlying the matter. He remains suspended to date. Oh, and now we turn to the facts of the matter.
So here's our
Yes.
facts. So listen to this indictment. On the November 30th, 2017, a federal grand jury in the U.S. District Court of, well, let's just say New Jersey, indicted respondent and his co-defendants. They were indicted with 11 crimes: wire fraud, 2 counts of aggravated identity theft, money laundering conspiracy, money laundering, access device fraud, kidnapping conspiracy, kidnapping, extortionate collection of credit conspiracy, extortionate collection of credit, and using, carrying, and possessing a firearm. So December 2017, some of this gets crazy. Like, listen to some of this. The respondent was arrested and detained until March 2018, when he was released on a $1.5 million collateral bond. While released on bail, respondent sent his wife a threatening letter because he believed that she was cooperating with the government's prosecution of him. Now, he also talked about, he went further. Again, he told me to make sure that you understand. They alleged that he threatened to dismember her. So, I mean, that's,
so I'm imagining that's what the letter was.
yes,
because we're not seeing what the letter was. I'm imagining that's what the letter stated. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Well, and the scam with the steel, that was insane, because what they were doing is they were buying a bunch of scrap metal that was just garbage, like basically just garbage, and then they would stack real valuable looking scrap metal on it and sell it for more than it was worth. And
There's
they were
also
doing this on
well,
magnitude.
there's also a problem right here. Like when he's talking about it, okay, with him and BBB, I don't trust BBB not to give out files he's not supposed to. Hale's mentioned that, and I think that he has a legit concern, giving things to the ecosystem, talking about filings that he or MP might have. Well, this guy here, and contrary to terms of a protective order, he provided a friend with 3 copies of wiretap interception transcripts for distribution to others. So he's actually going in and he's taking items contrary again to a protective order. So he's not supposed to do this. He's been ordered. He's doing it anyway. Sensitive materials. And there will be charges beyond that too. But again, when we get to sensitive materials, like that's a real issue. Like these folks here.
Because if they get a hold of your sensitive information like this, the people like this will take your social security number and sell it 1 million times over. They'll take your driver's license number and use that as proof that this is the correct ID. I mean,
they want to know about Hale's business contracts. They want to know about every place he has business, and we've seen how that's been treated. Now, if again that information is given to these parties, I personally I don't trust them with it. And if somebody like this ends up with it, what happens? So, or what happens if there are sensitive things like phone numbers, addresses? Again, he proved that he'll send damn phone numbers out to everybody and their mother. He did that already. He got pissy because again, I informed Bruce of who this person was, and I firmly believe Bruce knew. He didn't care. Again, they've continued to do whatever. He didn't care whatever. He just went with a whataboutism. But yeah.
Well, and he said before that he believes that he has every right to do that. He wants to say that that's a First Amendment right. That's not true.
Oh, that is not a First Amendment right. No, not at all.
No.
But consequently, June 2018, the district attorney revoked his bail and sent him to FMC Devens, an administrative security federal medical center. So he's sent out. They revoke his bail because of this mess. So March 18th, 2019, in front of this judge, he entered guilty pleas to count 1 and 9 of the indictment. Again, the conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit extortionate collection of credit, contrary to, they give again, if you want to look those up, this is easy to find. So you just look up the name and you look up convicted, or you look up bar. You'll find it all. Respondents, allocuted.
So what is, I'm curious, what does allocuted mean?
That means he admits to very few things.
Okay.
He when he's sitting there, like he's doing his best to keep it to the bare minimum. Like that's one of the things that see, that'll cause you problems in sentencing. One of the things they want you to at least feign is remorse. They want you to pretend, oh yeah, I feel bad about what I did here. And
well, I'm wondering if that's because he was afraid of being labeled as a snitch.
It's possible. He's working here with, according to the we've got the FBI that was involved. We have the U.S. district attorneys that are involved. We've got quite a few. You got quite a few acronyms that are involved. Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
So they say that.
Letter agencies.
Yeah, they let him plead to specific items. But this is you, by the way. I'm sorry, I went over to yours.
In respect to conspiracy to commit wire fraud charges, respondent stated that he represented a company that was ripping off the Chinese people and Chinese companies in the scrap metal business. Respondent further admitted that in furtherance of the conspiracy, the company exchanged emails that traveled interstate. As to exonerate the collection of credit charges, respondent allocated that one of the individuals that was in the company had a dispute with the other individuals, and there was just a little situation and an encounter.
By the way, I just want to note one thing. Usually I don't care about a word, but that's extortionate. So, not to I just want to hammer that word, extortion. So it is extortion. Extortionate collection of credit charge. Charge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So whenever he said that, that's just a large amount. That's like the level of extortion. It's not like a couple of $100s. It could be in, if it was a $500,000 suit.
Yeah. 559, and I can't remember I think there's 20 something cents. It's whatever number I put in the beginning plus 20 something cents.
That's only what they know of. That's not including what they don't know.
He had to forfeit another $130,000 on top of that. So we were talking about almost $700,000. And that's just what came up in there.
And although respondent denied having been present, he stated that the encounter involved someone who brandished a pew-pew, and that individual was threatened in connection with an unpaid business debt. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Respondents acknowledged that he knew the encounter would be taking place at his law office. So he knew about this the whole time.
Yeah, he set it up. That's what they alleged. They said he set this in there. And then again, the other people, the muscle, as it were, they came in. We're going to get to a disabled guy that's going to be involved in this stuff too. So,
gosh. Yeah. In December 5th, 2019, sentencing proceeded before the Honorable Jack B. Weinstein, U.S. District Judge. Respondent affirmed his guilty plea. Judge Weinstein's statement of reasons pursuit, dated October 15th, 19, set forth the facts underlying respondent's criminal conduct.
Specifically, through his law office, respondent met with clients who became his co-conspirators and co-defendants. For several years, respondent represented co-conspirator number 1 in litigation relating to the scrap metal business, which involved exporting scrap metal from the United States in large shipping containers to foreign customers who paid per unit of weight for scrap metal separated and charged for by value. 2015, Following respondents' introduction to co-conspirator 1 to co-conspirator 2, who was also a client, the three individuals devised a scheme to defraud companies seeking to buy scrap metal. Co-conspirator 1 identified potential victims, and respondent registered 2 companies to operate the fraud, facilitated the opening of bank accounts for the fraud, and corresponded with quote-unquote customers. The respondent involved co-conspirator 2 in the scheme because respondent believed that he had organized crime connections and could help settle potential disputes. So
Now this one is very important because it's showing that he identified potential victims, that he registered 2 companies to operate fraud, facilitated the opening of bank accounts for that fraud, and then corresponded with these so-called customers. Jeez.
yeah, and he involves people through a law firm. He does all this crazy stuff while putting it together. He's bilking co-conspirator number 1 for fees and more. He's using another co-conspirator. I mean, it's craziness. So the names of the fraudulent companies were similar to the names of 2 legitimate scrap and recycling businesses that were used to defraud 8 companies.
In early October 2015, one of the fraudulent companies contracted to sell scrap metal worth $31,500. The purchaser wired the funds to respondent New York's interest on lawyer account trust fund account. The monies were then wired to an account controlled by the co-conspirator because no scrap metal delivery was made. Purchaser threatened criminal charges, and the conspirators returned the money to the purchaser, but used the lessons of this failure to develop a more sophisticated fraud scheme.
So they get better over time with their.
For each subsequent purchaser, the second fraudulent company arranged to sell and ship a container of scrap metal, which had been diluted with cheaper metal. The valuable scrap metal was placed on top of the filler metal and in close proximity to pre-drilled holes in the container in order to convey the appearance that the entire container was filled with the valuable metal. The conspirators also began using...
Wait. This is important. Yeah. Like this is where I was talking about. Now drink this in, Chad. I mean, really, drink this part in here. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
The conspirators also began using aliases when they interacted with customers. They recruited a blind person under the care of a guardian ad litem to be the nominal president of one of the fraudulent companies.
So they took a blind man who was under the care of a guardian ad litem. And they were like, hey, this guy right here, he's going to be the name that we actually attach to one of these fraudulent companies. Now, there's more information about this, too. And it gets even crazier, like offers them a few bucks to do it. I mean, it's nuts. So this person is unwillingly, both really, to involved in this fraud.
So I'd be curious to who this guardian ad litem is that allowed this to happen. That's interesting.
Listen to why the respondent. So check this out.
A respondent suggested designating the blind person as the nominal president, asserting that his disability precluded him from being sued.
So we hear about disability all the time in this case. It's one of the things that people love to bring up over and over again. It's one of those buzzwords, going after disabled, going after, impoverished. And so, well, this person fit all of those and more. Yeah. So everything they say, like I said, everything they accuse Jeremy Hales or other people doing, they've done. Yeah. And actually, like I said, we're just these things that we're going to cover tonight. I feel like the tip of the iceberg.
I'll let you go ahead on from here.
Okay. So the co-conspirators operated quickly to complete as many sales as possible before it became known that they were shipping overvalued material. In just a few weeks, they'd made more than $484,000 for fraudulent sales. Approximately $190K of the money was transferred to respondent, and also charged $15,000 to a debit card associated with a fraudulent company's bank account. In addition, respondent actively was involved in monitoring payments and replying to bank inquiries regarding monetary transfers. So anytime, you trip safeguards about all of this stuff, you're going to have questions.
Yeah, those come up quite often. I mean, it's for example, if you're an attorney, you'll have a limit on what you can deposit into a trust account, and you have to let your bank know ahead of time that this is not exact. Usually, it's exactly. I can't remember how that works, but you have to let them know how much money is going to be coming in there, because the last thing you want to do is having someone that's coming in with a payment on a $1 million lawsuit, and that payment comes into your bank, gets wired into your bank. It sets all kinds of red flags off at the IRS and every one of the 3-letter companies.
Yeah, so, now even with private individuals, if you put in $10,000 or more, it automatically triggers something. If I've ever had to move money from a bank or anything else, and you have that amount of money, you get a call. So, but for them, having a lawyer pick up those calls probably worked a lot better for their large amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
So while the scrap metal scheme was ongoing, now this is what we were talking about with the breakdown. Respondent demanded legal fees and other money, co-conspirator 1, including money to pay an enforcer to meet with members of the Chinese organized crime enterprise hired by disgruntled customers. The story about the Chinese organized crime enterprise was false, by the way. So they told this person, hey, I need these tens of thousands of dollars because otherwise, well, the Chinese mob is going to get you. We need to sit down with them and we need to figure this out. So they paid, of course. They paid. And they borrowed money too. So December 2016, respondent arranged for co-conspirator 2 and the enforcer, who had purportedly dealt with Chinese organized crime enterprise, to hold co-conspirator 1 in a room at respondent's law firm and to extort him. A loaded gun was pointed to co-conspirator 1, who was directed not to call the police. Now, during the sentencing, another person here, in which Adam T., the procurement and operation manager at DB International, testified that he had purchased and organized the logistics for scrap metal product. He stated that he received a telephone call from another guy from Omni Metals. You noticed that it was brought up, Omni Metals, in the one thing that we were discussing, which was a fraudulent company. So if you read that anything, you have, this again, it sounds close enough to real companies that people are like, okay. Inviting him to visit a warehouse for the purposes of evaluating and purchasing insulated copper wire, which would be loaded in a container and shipped to China for recycling.
T met with a third party who is not affiliated with Omni at a warehouse where T examined boxes and bales of insulated copper wire. Neither Sharp nor respondent were present. On this particular occasion, the product T could examine was limited. He was permitted to examine certain places and then approach the product only at the times that they would deem comfortable. If he tried to examine the container from different vantage point, he was pushed aside. The limitations placed on T's examination of the container did not raise any red flags. What of me? T explained that the nature of the business is a lot of times people get aggravated with the way we approach them. The contents appeared perfect. Thus, this company entered into contract with Omni for the purchase of 1 load of the insulated copper wire for $140,000. T testified, in the scrap metal industry, payment is made at the time a container is loaded with product. Thus, the funds were wired and the container was loaded, sealed, and removed by truck for shipment to China. When that container arrived in China, government x-rays revealed that the container was filled with concrete and covered with insulated copper wiring, which created the outward appearance that the container was full of copper wiring.
Oh my goodness. So they were like, yeah, we put a little bit of this stuff on top. And I feel like that's the kind of stories that you get, you get a few names that the copper wire on top of it. They throw in a little BBB and a little bit of Jeremy on top. And they say they did research and more, but it's all really just bricks in the end, I mean, it's ridiculous. You know,
Oh,
I've never seen anybody, by the way, ask for money before you do advocacy. If you believe in something, then you talk about it. And if people like your coverage and your content, they support your platform. But you do your advocacy regardless. You know, you go out and do it no matter what because you believe in it. And
yeah.
with
That's
this,
usually. I mean, that's. And I said something about that last night. It's just, he wants me to come on and give all my research, all of the hours that I spent, uh, reading through court documents, seeing what was going on, watching depositions, reading all of the things that gave me the opinion that I have. And for me to, oh, come over here and why don't you give us all of this information for free so we don't have to do any work? Well, I'm
yeah,
not your lapdog.
not just that, they're not doing research. You know, they already wrote articles on this right from go. They had opinions based on what BBB said, totally, and they got many things just absolutely wrong. And instead of, and while they were while they're doing that, they're asking for money. They're saying, hey, if you want us to actually do research and cover it, give us 10K, give us $300. Oh, I got a raider for 1 second. What's up? What's going on? What you do?
It's a bug.
It was bedtime.
Yeah, well, it is. It is bedtime. Are you ready to go to bed?
I can't find my milky milk.
Huh?
My milky milk.
Well, we'll get some. Actually, you need some water. Is what you need.
No, I can't find my milky milk cup with it.
Okay. Well, you need to get a water right now, and we'll get some milky milk. Maybe.
No, I lost my milky milk cup.
Well, look around. Go see if you find it, and get you a water if you need some drink. Okay. Close my door for me. Okay. Love you. Love you.
So cute. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, I need my milk and milk. I'm like, okay.
well, go find
so
it.
the Chinese government detained the container for quite a bit of time in China, requiring GDB to pay storage and disposal fees and accused the company of engaging in illegal activity. So this other company gets jacked up because of this. No, he's trying to. His thing has always been, well, we defrauded the Chinese. Like that's better. Oh, well, but no. Defrauded a lot of people. Plus, let's not forget about like the disabled guy that got brought up, co-conspirators, even yeah, they're scumbags, but you're still shaking each other down. It's crazy.
Yeah, because this harm goes deeper and deeper. I mean, you're looking at, this guy is thinking, hey, I'm getting this copper wire. So he's making deals to get that copper wire recycled. He's got people on standby to unload it, to get, I mean, like, what a way to just mess up a whole bunch of people. Because one little thing like that, it was just a little thing. No, it affects everybody all the way down the pipeline on that.
Indeed.
It's the same way that this this trial, they're like, oh, look how we're putting it to Jeremy. But they don't look at what's happening to the people that are around him. They don't look at the kids that are involved in this. They're worried about this little child that, I won't go into that because it just make me very angry right now. And they don't consider all the other children that this affects. They don't take into consideration the fundraising that Jeremy does, the gratuitousness that he does, his charitable contributions. They don't look at any of that would help. I don't know how many other children, because they want to go and defame him. They want to destroy his company. They want to destroy him.
Well, they also have not delved into, again, I'm sure they don't know about Shara or the messages. They don't know that BBB actually wrote a letter that confirms that the messages she put up, the giant red flags, they're legit. He himself confirmed that. He gets to scream cyber stalking or whatever the hell. He's MacGuffin, I think is his new one. Signs are a MacGuffin. Like, oh my God. Reminds me of a little kid with a word. You just learned one.
He just learned a new word. He saw
so
Hitchcock for the
precious.
first time.
So precious. So T worked in the industry since 2007. Never experienced similar circumstances. Now, Joe, GDB, had contracted for the shipment of 3 containers. Only the first was shipped. Now, during a phone conversation, respondent told T that he would talk to his clients about the situation and contact T, but T never heard from him again. GDB never received a refund for those containers. Now, BB, who is a special agent for the United States Department of Commerce, they will call them the department from now on, testified that the scheme came to the attention of the department, which enforces United States export regulations, because the scheme could affect United States international business relations. So you're talking about this fraud is so bad that it could potentially impact business relations for the entire country.
Yeah.
And that's mad.
Like I said, this is not just one, we got a little bit of something. You start doing things internationally like that. Oh my gosh.
So let's check this out. Now, you were talking about the blind man and asking some questions about them. All right. Now, I want chat. I really want you to drink this part in too. Okay. So here's the blind man. He testified about respondents' use of his signature and identity, quote, for their own evil purpose. According to him, as he was walking down the street, a man named Arthur offered him $3 and some cigarettes. He told Arthur about a potential legal case against his legal guardian who had physically assaulted him. Arthur took him to meet the respondent, the person we're talking about, so who agreed to represent him. So you see how his blind man gets linked in.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
At a
$3,
meeting,
$3.
yeah, $3 and cigarettes. At a meeting, respondent asked this gentleman whether he would like to be the president of Omni Metal Corp. Well, this gentleman agreed, but expressed concern about the impact that the position might have on his receipt of Social Security, which is very important, because if you're on Social Security and you start receiving a certain salary, they'll cut that off.
Yep.
And respondent told him, "Oh, don't you worry about it." Based on his testimony, someone named JH provided him with falsified birth certificate and a false identification card, which he used as president of Omni. Respondent gave him a cane and business cards. At respondent's direction, this gentleman visited different financial institutions. He did not explain what he did during those visits, although H had instructed him to dress appropriately. After 3 banks had denied him, H informed him that we got a thing called IDB Bank. Well, unbeknownst to D, his name was being used to wire money. When someone named Jimmy took D to IDB to sign checks, D sensed that something was not right and asked our RM, a bank officer, what was happening. When M answered that $221,000 was being paid to respondent, D realized that he was in a little too deep. And at some point, D told respondent that he no longer wanted to participate, and respondent replied, "Do what you have to do." D then closed the bank accounts.
So the next day, respondent's secretary calls the blind man and directed him to pick up his case file. Now, according to the blind man, respondent did not provide any services in respect to his legal matter. So again, he is saying he went and he first approached this guy for advocacy. Does that sound like something we have going on these days?
Very familiar.
Yeah, advocacy for hire. Instead of getting advocacy, he's looped into all of this insanity, and he gets no help with the advocacy at all. Instead, people get paid. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Sounds weirdly familiar. So respondent also ignored blind man's phone calls. He conceded that the respondent might have explained that he could not take the case because he had a guardian. He acknowledged that for the work in the scheme, he had received a stipend of $10 to $15 a stipend on 10 to 15 occasions, although he's uncertain of the total amount. Prior to his arrest, the respondent had suffered undiagnosed bipolar. So again, the mental health lean on. And I have to say, his actions right now seem like he is, if he really has a mental health condition, he seems like he is off his fucking meds. But
Yeah.
I have to say that mental health disorders are oftentimes used to explain terrible things that people do. They're like, oh no, I'm actually mentally ill. You know, mental illness does not make you do some of the things that we saw there. You can have mood, you know, you can have stupid decisions like bipolarism. They talk about spending and dumb decision making, but I've never had a client
or just fly off the handle for no reason whatsoever. I mean, but you tend to follow that up with really dumb decisions and a lot of apologies and yeah.
I wonder when he gets himself in trouble with this. Is that going to be this thing too? It's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I wouldn't take my meds. But he thanks the judge for sending him to FMC Devens, where he finally was diagnosed, treated for his condition after suffering for many years. He described the difference that proper treatment had made in his life, apologized to the victims of his criminal conduct, and stated he wanted to start putting his life in order to be a productive member of society, law-abiding citizen, and repay those I've hurt as soon as possible. Now, during the sentencing hearing, he admitted that he created fake Facebook accounts. So again, the kind of stuff here, you know, coming up, fake stories, bullshit, and pretending, oh, it's legit. He used them to disseminate information during local political campaigns, which resulted in a pending state court criminal matter. He also testified, he falsified Facebook and Twitter business records. The federal prosecutor pointed out that while he was out on bail, he leaked wiretaps contrary to the court's order because he believed it would be politically advantageous to him. So he's leaking. Again, that's what I'm saying. If he felt there was an advantage in something, if he felt that
he's going to, he'd like he would leak things out if he thought that. So anything that Bubbles is sharing with him, there's always that big possibility he'll leak that information out if he thinks that it's going to be advantageous to him.
Yeah, well, and two L's, we know. See, there was an interesting exchange, and it very much looked like this. You had them showing a document, and the document didn't have, well, it wasn't a court, it wasn't finalized. Now, how would you get an early copy that has not been issued to the court? Well, it had to come from the person that put that out, right?
But he's not working with them, is he? No, he would never do such a thing.
If he's doing that, I mean, again, how could you trust him? So.
Well, on September 9th, 2019, in accordance with respondents' plea agreement, Judge Weinstein dismissed counts 2 through 8 and counts 10 and 11 of the indictment. In respect of counts 1 and 9, the judge sentenced respondent to 2 4-year terms of imprisonment to be served concurrently, with credit for time served followed by 3 years of supervised release. Judge Weinstein also imposed a $200 special assessment, order respondent to pay $559,911.26 in restitution, ordered the respondent's forfeiture of $130,000. Now, in Judge Weinstein's statement of reasons pursuant to 18, he summarized respondent's scheme as follows. Well, defendant Paint Chip Fluffers abused his status as a lawyer and conspired to commit fraud and extortion, he together with others, while they devised a scheme to defraud and export companies purchasing scrap metal for shipment to foreign customers. And then they organized a scheme to extort a co-conspirator, while on pretrial release following his arrest, engaged in witness tampering and provided evidence to third parties in violation of a court order. Although he is remorseful for his conduct in alcohol and drug recovery abuse, his crimes were absurd, bizarre, and ruthless.
Wow, what descriptors, right?
This
What
case
descriptors?
illustrates the danger of ignoring mental health problems of practicing lawyers. Jeez.
He concludes that Paintchip's crimes were bizarre and ruthless. He used his status as a lawyer to give an air of legitimacy to a serious fraudulent scrap metal scheme. His law license was the recruitment tool that allowed him and his co-conspirators to take advantage of a disabled individual to perpetrate the fraud. Again,
So now he does it as a writer.
yeah, again, well, advocacy. Okay. Unsatisfied by traditional methods of debt collecting, he used threats of violence to collect a legal debt purportedly owed by a co-conspirator. So, he's trying to say, oh, none of that. So, again, the judge brought this up. He's like, hey, this actually happened. This sentence imposed will appropriately punish and deter defendant from similar conduct. Paintchip's crimes damaged American commerce. It is important that American scrap metal dealers are able to ship their products abroad without suspicion that they might commit fraud. Deterrence of others who might engage in similar conduct was considered by the court. The judge determined that respondent's substance abuse, mental health issues, and pressures he suffered as a lawyer did not warrant less than a 48-month prison term. Although the court acknowledged that respondent's behavior may have been partly the result of medical and mental health problems and medications, he could not attribute it to that in the view of the report he had from the medical survey the court ordered. So he's saying, hey, it could have been there, but we had court-ordered evaluation, and the court-ordered evaluation said, no, we can't attribute it to that. So even though he does it, the courts were like, no. He understood right from wrong. That's ultimately like what you gauge there. Do you actually understand what you're doing? Do you understand that this is criminal? And I mean, you look at what they're doing. They devise not only a scheme, but an intricate scheme. They hide their criminality. They bring in co-conspirators. They threaten people.
Because not knowing what you're doing is one thing listen, I picked up this box of metal and I sent it over to somebody else. I had no idea that it was a scam. That would be one thing. But he set this all up. The court's saying, yeah, he had the mental capacity to do that. This had nothing to do with it. What a butt. Well, based on that record, the OAE urged his disbarment, contending that his guilty plea was evidence of a violation that respondent violated by failing to disclose material facts to 3 banks, not 1, not 2, but 3 he used to perpetuate this fraud, which would have avoided assisting in criminal or fraudulent act by his client. And that respondent violated these, as he admitted in his plea agreement that he obstructed justice by sending a threatening letter to his wife because he believed that she was cooperating with the government.
So he admitted it. He admitted it, So there's the thing. When he wrote out his descriptors to me, he was like, oh, they alleged all of these things. And he tried to play it off like he didn't know. Well, he admitted to guilt. So come on now. Come on.
Yeah. He believed that she was cooperating with the government by disobeying a protective order that prohibited him from distributing discovery materials. That's very interesting. So a protective order, I wonder if he's disobeying a protective order that prohibits him from distributing discovery materials, then what good does it do for Bruce to be able to see those documents that Jeremy has in his case to disobey that protective order and distribute those things to the 2?
Well, there's certain items you're not supposed to distribute, like the depots, like they can be distributed in certain documents. They can show. There are certain things, though, that are not supposed to go out there. Anything that's going to talk about any sensitive material. So those are things that they've been discussing. Hey, those are not supposed to be for public consumption. Now, what worries me, like I said, is this person ever sees them or gets their hands on something. What happens with that? I mean,
He clearly doesn't have enough scruples to avoid not turning that stuff to show the rest of the world. The OAE further asserted that respondent failed to report his conviction as it is required. In his May 12, 20 briefing to us, respondent contended that his prosecution was a ruse to conceal his role in a government plot. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Presented an obsession with geopolitical conspiracy theories and expresses indignation that his incarceration had precluded him from running his election interference machine.
So I totally am sorry for what I did. No. When he files with them, he's like, nope, this is a ruse. This is all fake. It's all geopolitical conspiracy theory. And, well, it's election interference.
Yeah, this is the same kind of people that Bruce is. Because everything that he's been saying, this is just that has been his constant statement, is saying that this is nothing but to create YouTube content for Jeremy. That has been his contention the whole damn time.
Yeah, it's like the flat earthers of fucking court documents. I swear. Ugh. So following a review of the record, we determined to grant the OAE's motion for final discipline. Final discipline proceedings in New Jersey are governed by a certain rule. Under that rule, a criminal conviction is conclusive evidence of guilt in a disciplinary hearing. So they have talk about different things. Respondent's conviction of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, a conspiracy to commit extortionate collection of credit, thus establishes violations of a rule. Pursuant to that rule, it is professional misconduct for attorney to commit a criminal act that reflects adversely on a lawyer's honesty, trustworthiness, and fitness as a lawyer. Respondent's conduct further violated other rules here. Specifically, it violated this one by failing to disclose material facts to 3 banks used to perpetuate the fraud. Respondent disclosure would have prevented his clients from engaging in criminal or fraudulent acts. Moreover, respondent's failure to disclose to his clients that he was being lured to respondent's law office for the purpose of being extorted constitutes another violation here, because respondent could have prevented that criminal act of extortion. Wow, I mean, this is so mad, man. Respondent also engaged in conduct prejudicial to his administration of justice when he obstructed justice by sending a threatening letter to his wife, whom he believed was cooperating with the government, and by disobeying the protective order prohibiting him from distributing copies of discovery material, violating this rule.
Hence, the sole issue is the extent of discipline to be imposed. In all of these filings, it determined the appropriate measure of discipline we must consider. The interests of the public, the bar, and the respondent. The primary purpose of discipline is not to punish the attorney, but to preserve the confidence of the public in the bar.
Well, boy, I think they fell in that in spectacular fashion all the time.
Yes, do.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of times I'm like, well, they should have done something here, but no.
Fashioning the appropriate penalty involves a consideration of many factors, including the nature and severity of the crime, whether the crime is related to the practice of law, and any mitigating factors such as a respondent's reputation, his prior trustworthy conduct, and general good conduct. The court has noted that although it does not conduct an independent examination of the underlying facts to ascertain guilt, it will consider them relevant to the nature and the extent of discipline to be imposed. In motions for final discipline, is it acceptable to examine the totality of the circumstances, including the details of the offense, the background of the respondent, and the pre-sentence report before reaching decision as to the sanction to be imposed? The appropriate decision should provide due consideration to the interests of the attorney involved and to the protection of the public.
An attorney's conduct did not involve the practice of law or arise from a client relationship will not excuse the ethics transgression or lessen the degree of sanctions. Offense that evidence ethics shortcoming, although not committed in an attorney professional capacity, may nonetheless warrant discipline. The obligation of an attorney to maintain the high standards of conduct required by members of the bar, even to activities that may not directly involve the practice of law or affect his or her clients. In this case, respondent's conduct involved the practice of law. Although his scheme or the scheme itself did not require the use of respondent's skill as an attorney, he used his professional position to carry out the crime. He recruited two clients to conspire with him to create fraudulent companies for the purposes of defrauding legitimate businesses, and he used his words, ripping off. So that was his words, ripping off Chinese companies. I mean, recruiting clients. Isn't that wild? BBB, you better watch your clients.
Yeah. Wow. They're like magnets. They just attract each other.
Indeed. It's so crazy, man. Respondent expressly recruited the second client on the belief that he was involved in organized crime, and thus he could settle disputes. Respondent then recruited a third client who was disabled to be the president of Sham Corporation, sent him on criminal errands to 4 different banks, which he presented false identification documents for the purpose of opening bank accounts for respondent to carry out his fraudulent activities. Moreover, respondent directed the proceeds of his legal activities to his attorney trust account. So, moreover, it went into his trust account.
Yeah, that is one thing. Usually that right there will get you disbarred. I know in the state of Georgia, you mess with clients' money, and that is enough to just have you permanently removed. Well, and as Judge Weinstein observed, respondent used his status as a lawyer to give an air of legitimacy to a serious fraudulent scrap metal scheme. His law license was the recruitment tool that allowed him and his co-conspirators to take advantage of a disabled individual to perpetrate the fraud. Well, respondent also arranged for one of the conspirators to threaten another who had been either unwilling or unable to meet respondent's demand for the payment of his legal fees. Respondent arranged for the confrontation to take place at his law office, and even though he was not present for the encounter, he knew exactly what the hell would happen.
Indeed. He knew what was going to go on. He knew exactly. Oh, those are some pretty knees you got there. It'd be a shame if my friend breaks them.
Yeah. Thus, at a minimum, aspects of his law practice were intertwined with his criminal conspiracy. In addition to the crimes themselves, respondent demonstrated a distaste for or refusal to lead a law-abiding life.
Yes.
Even
they're noting, even when he was released, like on his, he still continued that. I mean, I think that's an important thing too. I mean, when I look at his behavior now, it's out there. Like he is not ethics. No.
There was never ethics there in the first place.
Yeah. So
even after his release on bail, respondent engaged in criminal conduct in matters unrelated to the scrap metal scheme. His criminal acts included witness tampering and releasing wire transcripts contrary to a court order prohibiting that very conduct.
Indeed, he has complained to us that his incarceration precluded him from running his election interference machine. So he's indignant about it.
Like, how dare you stop me from causing problems?
He's still indignant about it. Like in his statements, he's convicted of this shit. I mean,
Well, isn't that the same? That's sort of the same way with Bubbles there. He's very indignant about his whole, getting sanctioned by the court there.
It's just amazing to me. I mean, seeing this again, these people were brought in, and I saw in the chats of certain individuals, they were talking about, quote unquote, bringing in muscle. Not bringing in reporters, bringing in muscle. I also saw certain people that were totally okay with all of this insanity too. Ones that, well, they tell you that are very upfront and moral and decent. Yeah,
it's really moral, upfront, and decent. As soon as someone starts questioning you about where that money's actually going, for you to ban them and then start talking trash about them and then go on the attack of them and then still continue to perpetrate that same thing that you were told is inappropriate.
Indeed. So case law supports disbarment on both counts to which the respondent pleaded guilty. In the respect of wire fraud, attorneys who commit serious crime or crimes that demonstrate a total lack of moral fiber. A total lack of moral fiber. By the way, that's a heck of a description in there. Must be disbarred. It is. To be disbarred in order to protect the public, the integrity of the bar, and the confidence of the public in the legal profession. Attorneys convicted of conspiracy to commit wire fraud after taking part in the scheme to defraud life insurance providers, that's talking about this case, via 3 stranger-oriented life insurance policies. The victims affected by the crime lost $2.7 million, and the intended loss to the insurance providers would have been more than $14 million. In another case here, attorneys convicted of wire fraud for engaging in advance fees scheme lasted 8 years, defrauded 21 victims of more than $819,000. The attorney leveraged his status as an attorney to provide a veneer of respectability and legality. Oh, that's exactly what this guy did too.
Yeah. Well, and he's still doing that.
Mm-hmm. To the criminal scheme, including the use of his attorney escrow account, and then another RE, attorney convicted of 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and mitigation. The attorney was a mere cog in the criminal enterprise. He cooperated with government, and he suffered from depression and aggravation. The lenders lost more than $12 million. The attorney had an extensive disciplinary record and engaged in criminal activity for his own benefit. You want to pick up here? Actually, it seems to go a long time.
Another one. This attorney pleaded guilty to using the United States mail to promote and facilitate a racketeering enterprise. The attorney admitted that he bribed public officials to expedite sewer connection approvals for land developments and coached a witness to lie to law enforcement authorities in a federal grand jury. And in another one, an attorney working as a public adjuster committed insurance fraud by taking bribes for submitting false inflated claims to insurance companies and failed to report the payments as incomes on his tax returns. Yeah, that you get in trouble for that if you
a lot of attorneys here, aren't there?
Yeah, a lot of attorneys. The attorney was guilty of conspiracy to commit mail fraud, and conspiracy to defraud the IRS. Another one convicted of 8 counts of scheming to commit fraud, 9 counts of internal real estate securities fraud, 6 counts of grand larceny, 1 count of grand larceny. That sounds familiar. And
Let's
1 count of.
Let's actually look at how many examples. Let's see if it's all examples.
It's just go.
Let's go to here because that I think we had enough examples.
Yeah, it just goes on.
Yeah,
like attorney and client.
We're closing in. So.
Yeah. Respondent used his status as an attorney to recruit co-conspirators and directed the proceeds of a criminal enterprise to his attorney trust account. Finally, he had one of his clients threatened and intimidated in an attempt to recoup those outstanding legal fees. And with his approval, that violent extortion took place at his law office.
Yeah,
respondent's misconduct. It's akin to that of the attorneys the court has disbarred for the extensive involvement in crime, which involved the use of their attorney's skills to furtherance of criminal enterprise for their pecuniary. I'm not going to say it right. Respondent's criminal acts pecuniary. Yes, pecuniary. I'll let you take over from there.
Now the student becomes the master. Yay!
Hooray!
Megan's like, I taught you well. His criminal acts spanned 2 years. So for 2 years, he does this. He used his law firm and his accounts to commit fraudulent activity. Moreover, his fraudulent scheme was so serious that it had potential damaging international business relationships with the U.S. and China. Respondent involved his clients in a criminal enterprise. One was chosen because the respondent believed he was connected to organized crime. He would settle disputes. He targeted another because he was disabled. That's so gross, by the way. Again, remember, that comes up all the time when they're talking about themselves. So, although respondent's criminal activity did not generate sums of money that the attorneys in the above case produced, his behavior had the effect of potentially causing international incident. At minimum, it had the effect of potentially jeopardizing the economic stability of U.S. participants in scrap metal recycling trade. That conduct alone warrants disbarment. Respondent's conduct of conspiracy to commit extortion independently warrants disbarment. They're going through examples again.
Yeah, so every single thing that he did, just on their own, was enough to
pieces of it.
Disbarment.
Pieces of it, actually would have gone with disbarment. Okay, so they give examples. We jump those. You want to pick up?
Yeah.
Wait. Let's see.
Yeah, that's more examples.
Actually,
here, respondent's conduct is similar to that of attorney in Yim. In that case, a Virginia federal court, the attorney pleaded guilty to collection of extensions of credit by extortionate means. He was sentenced to 28 months imprisonment, followed by 3 years of supervised release and fined $5,000. He conspired with a private investigator. So this is just a similarity.
Yeah, it's another similarity thing. Let's see. And
it's just whenever they're looking at it, they're saying here, when one of the respondent's clients refused or was able to pay respondent's outstanding legal fees, he arranged for the client, whom he believed to be connected to organized crime, to intimidate and shake down the client who owed him fees. And that occurred in the respondent's own office. Given the similarity between his and Yim's, the court pronouncement, it just mandates disbarment.
In whatever that word. and they go through there like, well, we observed criminal convictions for conspiracy to commit a variety of crimes, such as bribery or official misconduct, as well as an assortment of crimes related to theft by deception and fraud, ordinarily result in disbarment. We've emphasized that when a criminal conspiracy involves committing a prolonged rather than episodic involvement in crime, is motivated by personal greed and involve the use of lawyer schemes to assist in the engineering of criminal scheme, it often merits disbarment. Finally, respondent is a clear danger to the public.
During his short term, released on bail, respondent continued to pursue criminal activity. First, he engaged in witness tampering. Second, he provided evidence to third parties in violation of a court order. And in mitigation, respondent has no history of final discipline, expressed remorse at the sentencing hearing, and suffered from addiction as a result of an undiagnosed psychiatric condition. As Judge Weinstein noted, however, the record lacked any indication that respondent's addiction and psychiatric disorder played any role in his criminal conduct, which demonstrates a moral disconnect of great proportion. As the court
do you suddenly have a moral reconnect then? I'm not saying that people can't actually go through and find their way, but
have a life-changing event that, you have that come to Jesus moment. Yeah, that does happen. I've seen it happen, but he does. If you look at his actions currently, it seems like it's never reconnected.
No, he's going to expose and punish people. You know why? Because they pointed out that he's a fucking criminal and that fundraising endeavors there should be questioned. Pay me and then I will. And of course, anybody that has dared even speak up, they've attacked Megan They've attacked Shizzy. They're saying they're going to come after me. Of course, they've attacked Jeremy Hale. They go after everybody because that's what they're there for.
Yes, and the thing is he is for these reasons we recommend respondents disbarment in order to protect the public and preserve confidence in the bar. We further determined to require respondent to reimburse the disciplinary oversight committee for administrative costs and the actual expenses incurred in prosecution of this matter. That's even a bigger.
They're like, you got to pay us back. And again, everybody was like, yo, we got to disbar this person. Every one of them. Nobody recused themselves. Nobody didn't participate. They were all like, yes. 9-0, they disbarred this guy. So, I mean, again, this is the tip of the freaking iceberg right here so far. And it's not rumor and innuendo, the things that these folks like to traffic in. Again, they're out there saying, oh, you're a Yahtzee. I mean, really? Are you kidding me? I mean, this is the background to these folks. I want to make it perfectly clear. I don't feel like we've even started, by the way.
I'm pretty sure we haven't even scratched the surface.
Oh no. I mean,
and I think it's easy for them to point these things out here because they're hoping that's as far as we go, because it's that, here's all the bad stuff right here. But they I guess they don't understand that I'm not like that. See, they came at me. They came at Megan. They came at you. And there's no amount of small potato stuff like this that keeps me from really digging.
Well, their attack on Megan was nasty. I mean, that was their introduction into this. Like, they did interviews going after Megan. That's how it was set up. It was 100% set up to attack her. I mean, you saw the thumbnails on it and everything else. It wasn't to discuss this case. No merits, no observations. Oh no, it was 100% set up to attack her. And that just shows you the character of people involved. And of course, after they get questions on something, they begin playing the victim. It's always like that too. Always. And you screw that, and all these buzzwords and all this bullshit. I'm not a person to stand back. Some people are like, oh, I'm not those things. And they roll back on their heels. No way. I'll salute you with my middle finger while I lean in, because forget that. You're not going to say that I hate this or I hate that. I mean, forget you. You have nothing on there. And to go out and to disavow people. Are you kidding me? I disavow these people. I made that very clear. Anyway, sorry.
No, I'm with you. And you have every right to be indignant about it. See, the thing is they know your name. They know Megan's name. They don't know mine. And Lord, fear them if they ever do find out who I am, because that brings a whole different level of hell that they don't want to touch.
Well, they've been trying to, again, intimidate and more. Like I said, it's fascinating to me that the ecosystem has said over and over again, they don't contact people's loved ones. They don't threaten. They don't do anything like that. And yet, they brought these guys in and right from go, because he got mad. Again, I wanted, as a court issue, BBB, I do not want him pretending he doesn't know these people. And is that, go ahead.
Something just occurred to me as you were saying that, that's the other, if how dare they think that I would get any sort of fair, if I, for some reason, decided to do an interview with these people. They can't even tell the damn truth whenever they're reporting what I said.
Indeed. Well, it's like I was talking about the statement, that was put into the reporting, from me when I was talking about what went on. No, they tried to use that statement for fundraising. And I was like, well, it's interesting. You didn't put in why I don't want to come on there. I don't mind a good faith person. If a person wants to come into this with good faith reason, and I actually don't care if they have concerns. Like if they look at this, I'll express my opinions on something. You know, I've spent a lot of time looking at this case. You have, Megan has. And yeah, I could sit down and make those points very easily, but that's not what they want. They
No.
want that at all. They want to wait.
They've made it clear through all their shenanigans that they've been playing. I mean, right out the gate, they've made things up. They only show half of what is actually said.
Well, they did no research at all. They quoted BBB, but again, they were fundraising out of the ecosystem. They were asking for money before they do any research. What they were reporting, they did reports on. Not they did interviews, but they did reports on, and they wrote articles saying this is the fact, and they had no idea. They got things really wrong too. Like there's no proof that the signs, there's no pictures they were ever. Are you kidding me? They're in the court documents. They're right there. All you have to do is look at the initial filing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it left me scratching my head of did they not do any? No, they didn't. I don't even have to question that they just didn't do any of the research.
It's because you know people will promise you this this lens of, well, it's impartiality. They'll say, yeah, I'm not going to, but at the end of the day, again, they're fundraising right out of the ecosystem, and they fundraised not on the back of merits or anything. They did it on, oh man, Megan Fox. Like I said, that really told me something about them. But if the ecosystem wants to ignore this kind of stuff, people point it out. Again, I mean, we're talking about people. How many scams have to happen? How many before this is a problem? I keep talking about, you point out the criminal background of some of these people. You're talking about people that have been arrested for fucking scamming. This is a scamming on a level that could have caused international issues. This is as big as you can get. If this is ignored, I don't know what to tell you. Ah, man.
Way to say it, Tug. You said it on the best way that anybody possibly could.
I mean, my Lord, man. Let's see some super chats. You gonna stick for them, or?
Yeah, I'll stick for them. I'll stick for them.
Suzanne kicked it off with the 5 giftos. There was a bunch of those off the beginning, so appreciate all of you. Suzanne, thank you for kicking it off. Appreciate you there. We have BK dropping a gifted membership too. Thank you, BK. Thank you for that too. Appreciate you. Daily Dysfunction. What's up, Daily Dysfunction? Appreciate you there. Saw some of your comments earlier. Thank you for the gifted membership as well. BK dropped another gifted membership too. Making sure, you know, again, love those because it attaches people, and that's good. I think that's one of the best features here. I have my favorites. Also dropped a gifted membership. Thank you. I have my favorites. I always like that name, by the way. Thank you. Look at who's there. It's the Sticky Widget.
That's a good name too. Sticky Widget.
Yes. Remember we were talking about widgets that one day, and Sticky was like, oh my God, not widgets. That was funny. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, by the way, Sticky. Appreciate that. James, thanks for 5. BBB's boat is sinking. Who's going to build a ship before it sinks? Well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? I mean, you've already had some people bail out. You've had people bail out of the ecosystem. I mean, at some point, like blindly supporting some of this stuff seems like it should be a real problem, right? But I don't know. Maybe by the way, I heard something interesting we hadn't discussed today, Shizzy. Well, let's watch Jeremy Short real quick. You want to do that?
Let's do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's tune into Jeremy himself. He can tell us about it. So Yeah, what the hell? Just give me 1 second on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
That is that is a very enlightening short. And it gets better each time you see it.
And I hate the way that thing comes up. Like, it pointed out the like old ones. There we go. I didn't lock it in correctly right from go. I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I know that feeling.
I hate that, man. I wish shorts would lock in easier anyway. All right, now I got it locked on there. I hate the way shorts pop up on that because of this. All right, I'm gonna zoom it and then
He
here we go.
admitted today that it was Deuce that wrote the thumbnail case, and we all knew that anyway, completely and totally illegal. Attorney Scott Stark actually showed up after being called multiple times, hanging up multiple times on my own legal counsel, and stating that his laptop wasn't working. That's just one of the many illegal things that Deuce has done. Regulation Florida Bar 4-8.4. Bar professionalism, expectation, candor. You got to be civil. Must be used in all oral written communications. Lawyers must avoid disparaging personal remarks. I mean, me? Or attributing towards opposing counsel, opposing parties, third parties, witnesses in the court. He's done all of that on a daily basis, defaming me. He's encouraged others. Yep, he can be held liable for what the Walruses has done, for the pile of guano, for the stupid Daves, and the boneless out there. He is going to be held accountable. He's even done this to Shara, a witness, and my lawyer. He admitted today that it was Deuce that wrote the...
Isn't that interesting?
Oh my God. Yes, it gets better each time I see that. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, so there's admissions here that he wrote. Now, isn't that fascinating? Considering, people have talked about it. I heard someone say, well, he's pro hoc vice. Well, he's pro hoc vice on a specific case. He is not part of... He didn't ask permission to be part of the Stark case. So for him to be writing items behind the scenes, that's a big no-no.
And if I'm not mistaken, I heard said that the transcript for that deposition is going to be available on Wednesday.
Yes, DUI guy actually posted that. By the way, here's a fun little tidbit. Maybe, hey, chat, would you like to hear something really interesting, by the way? Are you in the mood to hear something else interesting? Very fun with that.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm pulling up DUI guys. Statement.
Love it whenever Tug says, would you like to hear something interesting? Because you know that it's going to be interesting.
Well, I got some fun times for you. So Larry pointed out that Randy just opposed Scott Stark. Transcript will be available Wednesday. You know what else will be available Wednesday? DUI guy. He's going to come on here.
Nice.
Baby. That's right. So myself... It looks like Megalodon's foe. We have DUI guy on. We're going to kick off a little party time. I want to ask him about some of this stuff. I want to get his opinions on the case and, just see how everything's gone with this. He did a new video, by the way. People should check that out for sure. We will review it. I'm figuring sometime this week I'm going to go over it because I really do want to go over that too. But yeah, I mean, that depo, we were told that depo wasn't going to happen, by the way. In the video, if you've not checked it out, you actually have letters written from Stark. Stark's complaining about his health, how he can't do this or that. He has problems with his sight, heart conditions, and more. But they're the ones who brought this litigation. So
yes.
If he signed on for something he didn't understand, that's not Jeremy's problem. That's not anyone else's problem. There was also something else. Give me 1 minute. I gotta find it real quick.
That there would be an issue with that attorney that signed on for it. And there's, maybe he just was given bad information. Oh, they'll settle out of court.
Yeah,
you won't have to worry about it. You'll never.
That's what it was.
Oh,
I mean, you know exactly what that was. I mean, that they said, it's going to be fine, Scott. You'll get your little payday, Scott.
Oh yeah.
You got a payday.
And now
All
he's
right.
being deposed. I'm sure he's just not happy about
Yeah.
that.
He was like, wait a minute, this is not what I was thinking when you said payday. I thought you meant candy bar. You know? Shit.
Yeah. Candy bar
He
would have been
also-
better than what they put him through.
So BBB put up one other thing too, and I'll discuss this a little more just to put everything
Ooh.
with it. But BBB, he said that February the 5th may be postponed. I mean, I'm sure. Now, do you remember some conversation about February the 5th, Shizzy?
Yeah, there was some pretty solid conversation about February the 5th.
Yeah.
That is going to be the hearing.
Yeah, and BBB said that wasn't real. It wasn't going to take place. It was a conspiracy theory. You remember that, right? that
Yeah.
that Megan Fox was pushing that because that was just going to be one of those storylines. You know, there was all, I mean, he put out posts about it and more. Now he's telling us that that hearing that doesn't exist may be postponed. So it is a hearing and it does exist. That's really strange. I mean, a guy
Well,
that's
if I'm not mistaken, there's actually more than just one hearing on February the 5th. If I read the court documents correct.
That's true. There's two.
There's-
There's one in the thumbnail litigation. You know, you're talking about the sanctions, and then you have the motion to dismiss on the trespass 5.
Yeah. So 2 hearings one day. Scott's going to be Randy's going to be pretty busy, isn't he? And so is Scott, because isn't Scott the attorney of record on both those?
Yep. You know what really entertains me with this stuff too is Randy's file. Like, you know, they talked all this smack about Randy. You know, they talked about him not being an effective lawyer and more. Well, guess who didn't understand how the courtrooms work? Wasn't Randy. They thought they couldn't be sanctioned. Like,
so if he's posting things like that it may be postponed, it sounds to me like they're planning on saying, oh, somebody can't make it because they're not well. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. There's actually, well, if you look at that DUI guy, he has some messages that are in there, and yeah, they're pretty fascinating. They're interesting. Here was Bruce, by the way, telling you that here's what he said about February 5th before. You know, now it's going to be postponed, but before, remember, it wasn't even real. He said it's a storyline for BR. The case is closed. There's no hearing on for sanctions motion scheduled. February the 5th was a hearing for summary judgment. It's moot. There's no basis for damages. That's all. That's fake. It was voluntarily dismissed without prejudice. So it's like, oh man, that's like this other thing. Here's a fake storyline, kernel of truth, but that's it. Megan Fox. Got to cry about Megan Fox, by the way.
Oh yeah, Megan Fox is like owns their mind and their soul.
Yep. That's the thing. You know, I firmly believe one of the reasons that they go after Megan so hard is because she is very effective. She finds people and she gets them to talk on the record. And that, yes. I mean, I admire that. Like, I can find documents and other things, but as far as I could even find people, but to be able to approach, be able to get people to speak, make them feel comfortable, man, she had a gift for that. And that terrifies them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she's been doing it so long. You know, she's been doing that long enough, more so than just doing her writing. Writing's gotten better, but that's a skill that you have even at a young age. That is, you know, and she's probably developed that to something that they only wish they could have.
She's good at backing her conclusions with evidence, finding that when she writes an article, like all these people, you know, when they're bringing in their quote unquote advocates, again, I always use that term very loosely, for hire. When they bring that tandem in, they just write out whatever they're told, it seems like. But Megan actually puts in the work. They know that too. They know.
Yeah.
So, Sticky, what's up? Thanks for the other 5 gifted memberships, by the way, Mr. Widget. Appreciate it, Sticky. Rickles, thanks for the 5. I wonder if it tickles the inside of BB's belly button when he plays his eyes. It sounds like some kind of jacked up Pillsbury Doughboy.
Sorry. Oh, that's so funny. Oh,
PG
gosh.
with a PG Gargoyle. Thank you for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tug's Thugs. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Connor. What's up, Connor? Thanks for the membership there. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tug's Thugs. Appreciate that. Fallen Hero. Thanks for dropping that $3 super sticker. Hope you're doing good today, by the way, Fallen Hero. Appreciate you. SF, thanks for the. Oh my God, the new intro. Yeah, I thought we would make a special one for today. I thought that one, it served its purposes. So if you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate that. Audrey, thanks for the 9 months, keeping those haters writhing in pain each month with breadsticks and little one candy funds. Much love and appreciation for all you do. Well, thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all being here. That's awesome. Thank you. Sue, what's up? Thanks for the 2 there. Breadsticks. Look at that breadstick. Yummies.
So good.
Yeah, indeed. Susan, thanks for the 2 there. Mo breadstick money. Yeah, I love it. Joan, thanks for the 10. Breadstick money. Breadsticks to make the haters mad. Thank you. Joan. I almost said Susan because I was thinking Susan. Thank you, Susan, too. But thank you, Joan. I appreciate that. Man, thanks to all of you. Thank you, Joan. Hippie Witch. What's up, Hippie Witch? Thank you for that super sticker, too. I got to go in and review those. I do after, live streams usually. I go back through, and I was like looking at those. Some were crazy. Marcus, thanks for the 5. You tell him, Tug and Shizzy. Indeed.
Darn right.
Yep, indeed.
Right. Every single time.
Ammo's girl, thanks for the 10. Tug, you nasty boy. Thanks. Now I'm hearing Janet Jackson. Nasty. That's Mr. Tugless if you nasty.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Iowa Gal, thanks for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tug's Thugs. Appreciate you, Iowa Gal. Debbie says, hey, thanks for the 2. I don't usually do super chats, but you're on fire. Oh, indeed. Indeed. Like I said, somebody wants to pound on their chest and say they're going to do some article calling me some kind of horrible thing. Well, I want you to know who the person is writing it. Again, they're going to continue this denial of reality too, I'm sure.
Yes.
But, this has been out there. You can remind every one of the ecosystem people too. All you have to do is pull up the fucking searches for this. Again, Richard Luthman, Luthmann. All you got to do is pull that up and look up his records there. They are public, right in your face. I mean, it'll be the first searches you find. Oh, thank you, though, Debbie. Appreciate you. The Floofy Cat. Thanks for the 5, dude. The Floofy Overlords don't do breadsticks, but will donate fish sticks instead. Well, I will take those. Not sure if it's late or early, but it's 1:30 a.m. here. It's only 9:20 here right now. It's it's early. It's early enough. Deadly Dysfunction, thanks for the 2. Sounds crazier than a dog named Amber email. Yeah, that one was a weird, funny. Oh my God. Yeah, I got this weird email I got this series of really bizarre emails, and they were, oh my God, they were some of the funniest stuff I have ever read, man.
I've gotten some too where somebody lost their mind on some county commissioners or something, and I don't know how they got my email, but for whatever reason my name was added into it, and I responded to it. Oh, it was beautiful.
That's the way to go, man. Why not, right? Why not? Sean, thanks for the 10. Celebrating 4 years since Take a Kidney Day, rendering me cancer-free. Hey, awesome. 4 years there. That is awesome, man. Chat, give
So
love
beautiful.
for sure. Brought dinner home from the watering hole. Home by 5. Love, LOL. Love you, Tug, Lug, and Buck. Well, thank you.
Oh, that's
Congrats to
beautiful.
you. That is awesome stuff, by the way. Just one person's opinion. Thanks for the 10. Hey, y'all. Y'all, indeed. Here's a little something for your breadsticks. Breadsticks. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Appreciate you there. SF, thanks for the 5. Isn't it racist for them to assume all people with large noses are Jewish? Yeah, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I never assume anybody is of any sort of religion or creed, or that doesn't fall in line with me. I mean, look at Nick Rekieta. He's like, I'm not Jewish.
I mean, that's true. We used to make fun of his schnoz all the time, and
Yeah, even he
including
made
him,
fun
we
of
would
it.
make fun of it too.
It was like you can say what you want, but it's not a Jewish thing. People have large noses.
Well, and it's
Okay.
also, it was strange for them to be like, look what Megan said. Do you back this? That was like the statement about eating Tide Pods. How does that fit in? What are you trying to say? Also, the
No.
foreskin thing. Are you saying that ultimately that's the only things that I mean that's racist to me? I mean, if you think that big noses and foreskin, if that is your indicator for someone's heritage, man, you missed out on a lot. Maybe you should go back to maybe you should go
Elementary
back to some
school?
classes.
Yeah, elementary school, they would have taught you a lot different. Aw,
Lee,
for
thanks
the
for the 5. For the haters, indeed. Thank you, Lee, by the way. Appreciate that. For the haters. PG Cart, thanks for the 5 there. What happens if you mention Yul Brynner? It might as well. Man, I love Yul Brynner, by the way, in his movie.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Oh, yes. The
I love
King
his
and I.
West. Yeah, what was that? Knockoff of The Man with No Name. What was that
Oh,
Western
God.
movie?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yes, yes. He was scary in that. I mean,
Sabato. It was one of those Sabato films. That was
yes.
yeah, Westworld. It was good. That might be what you're talking about with where he was scary, where he was the android that went insane.
Well, that one too, but I mean,
No.
even
Well,
in any of the westerns he's been in, he just has that look about him, like this guy
not
means
just that, like
business.
in Sabata. Let me see if I can find a picture. Yul Brynner at Sabata. He looks like a gangster,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he was like I said, he just had that air about him of that was intimidating. It's Clint Eastwood had that same look.
I'm looking for
Probably
him.
one of the nicest people you'd ever meet, but just had that look of
Yeah,
intimidation.
I had seen him in Westworld too. That was like one of my early I may have seen him in stuff before that, but I remembered him in it. There was just something about his look. There's I don't see the picture. They didn't put the one picture I was looking for. But I always loved Yul Brynner's look. He looked like he would shoot you down.
Yeah.
With like this look. Like he had that
Yep.
cold gaze. But there in Sabata, he comes in, and I mean he's a cowboy in the middle of the desert. He comes in with a fur coat, looking like a 60s pimp.
Yep. That is so true.
I loved it, man. I love Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
Thank you for that reminder, PG Gargoyle. Kelly, thanks for the 3. Because bad. CR is not. Oh, indeed. Well, like I said, they latch on to that one thing. Those are deflection points. Buzzwords are not evidence. They don't mean anything. They haven't brought any evidence of something. They're just latching on to this, and they want to write this gigantic freaking diatribe about it. It's ridiculous. Janice, thanks for the 20 there, by the way. Breadstick money. And for the girls. Thank you, Janice. That's awesome. Appreciate you there. Thank you. Stick it with Jet. What's up? Thanks for the 2. Yo, pew pew. I'll be using that from now on. Yes, indeed. Those like that there. Hey, there's Suzanne. Thanks for the, or Susan. I said Suzanne. Susan, thanks for the 2. For Shizzy's laugh.
Oh, thank you.
Indeed. You. I think it's entertaining. I love like when you get, you know, oh, there's like specific one of people that I just cut loose with, and I like that. Like yourself, Megan, DUI. Oh man, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you get me on a roll laughing, it gets even worse.
Sue's got a point here too. Now, let's ask Michael Franchise who these so-called tough guys are. That's very true. Like Michael Franchise is a legit ex-mobster. He turned his life around. He's a YouTuber now, but he's gone in. He's talked about his faith and everything else. But yeah, that guy he operated the biggest governmental defrauding scam ever exist, a gas scam. Used to New York they would take your taxes after the fact. They would take it on an honor system. So these people comprised of defrauding, you know, they would just open shell companies and shut them down. And he doesn't go out and brag about it. He doesn't deny what he did. He went in, he's talked about that. His father was a hardcore mobster. He grew up around that. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about there. For sure. He's on here. Sammy the Bull Gravano actually has a channel too.
Yeah, he does.
That's crazy. It's so crazy to see. I never thought I'd get to the point where mobsters would have them, and they're fascinating to watch there. You know, but yeah, they probably be interesting to ask them like who these people supposedly are. BC, thanks for the 5. Evening to get some kiddos some candy with this. Thank you, appreciate that, BC. It's awesome of you, Darlene. Thanks for the 2 there. More like fluffernutters. Fluffernutters.
Fluffernutters.
That's such a word too. But, you know, I remember like, hey, you want to get some fluffernutters? I don't know if I want that.
I don't know if I want that. It doesn't sound good.
It's interesting. Gay Matt, thanks for the 5 there for extra butter with your popcorn. And of course, we needed bubble gum. That's right, indeed. We need that bubble gum always. Yeah, the little one. She's like, oh, bubble gum. Frankie, thanks for the 20. I just don't understand how people support this. It's scary. It is. That's what I mean. But people are cheering it on. They cheer on some disgusting, reprehensible behavior, you know, and it's foul. Like again, people want to laugh about stupid, laugh in filings and whatnot. That's one thing. But man, why drive your money to this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I like, you know, reading the depositions. We all had some really good laughs over those, and because we know that it's a very serious situation. The threats that are coming at Shar are very serious, and even whenever I was sitting there doing those with Diva had a way with reading that and understanding the gravity of the situation, of like, oh my God, tell me this is not happening. This is not true. That
it's crazy,
this is what she's seen.
Yeah, if you tell an outsider, like I've told some people some of the things that have been brought up in here, and that I firmly believe happened because I've seen, you know, evidence of specific threats and more. Like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. I was telling somebody about the stuff that we're going to cover tonight. They were like, oh my God.
Like
exactly.
they don't believe people like this or like that.
It's wild. Carol, thanks for the 2 there. 10K sounds like hit money to me. Well, I actually, I think the guy who does that, so Volpe, I've used his name, so I guess I'll use it here. If you look, that's what he does with all these cases, though. And like, I can't compute that. I can't compute saying, I will be your advocate if you pay me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, you advocate for somebody because you believe that story needs to be told, even if it's not a story that they want told. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're following a story, you follow the story where everything lines up. You're trying to make sense of that story.
Well, and they're
And
claiming
that's
investigative journalism too. You know, the case. There's something about specific cases that, like,
about the only thing that they've investigated is the bottom of a Cheetos bag.
Cheetos. Cheat.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
there we go. Yeah, indeed, man. There's certain cases though too. If I get on a case, like I find them, I don't know what it'll be about them, but there's something about a case that'll just grab my attention. And this one, I mean, I can tell you with this one, it has some serious, some very serious consequences. But the escalation of it, the escalation's worrisome too, just to be honest. I do have legit concerns about like Jeremy's safety. I know he's taking precautions and more, but still, I mean, like, what needs to happen before people wake up and think, man, maybe the addition of that person or that's bad. That's just really bad.
Well, especially whenever they're making veiled threats to you.
Yeah, it's just to me too. Just because again, I pointed out who they were to a lawyer. But again, BBB made sure they came there. It was funny when they got their beck and call. They came like lap dogs too. Rah, 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 rah. Ankle biting mofos, I swear.
I have a Chihuahua more vicious than those.
I'm not somebody that you're going to intimidate like that. Like I don't respond well to that kind of stuff. I've been doing this. I've had every freaking piece of my life gone over. I've had some insane shit made up about me online. I mean, people just create rumors and they create crazy, nasty stuff. That's actually what the ecosystem does too. But
well, I mean, I'm not so worried about myself. I'm worried about the people around me. That's what I'm more concerned with. I'm more concerned with, how is something that I say or do going to affect Jeremy, going to affect you, going to affect Megan, going to affect a guest on my channel. That's what I worry about, because they don't. These are disgusting human beings. They know that they can't get to me. I mean, what can you say to a guy that wears a bicycle helmet and Velcro shoes?
Indeed.
You can't come at me without me just laughing at you hysterically and with all of the girth and vigor that I can possibly muster. It's the people around me that I'm concerned with.
I like how BBB, again, with the whole I'm going to write an article, I'm going to go after your loved ones and stuff. That person, they tagged BBB in. They made sure that he was part of that conversation. He's totally down with it. He's okay with that. He's good to go with it. And that is astounding. He got made fun of. You really think about that. These assholes, look at some of the stuff they've said about every participant. Who cares? I mean, if they want to make fun of accent, they want to make fun of heritage, they want to make fun of whatever. Who cares? But at the end of the day, they can't handle it. BBB, remember, they're going to do a hate piece because BBB had a nickname and someone laughed at his nose. He can't take that shit. And also, I think it's telling too, when these people that are supposed to be covering a case, all their hate piece stuff, it's not going to be about the case. It's going to be about, again, they're going to lapdog it for BB.
Yeah.
They stole one of these.
Because he's losing. That's the thing. He's losing in a spectacular fashion, and he's grasping at anything that he can to provide any sort of legitimacy to that loss.
His response to that was to tag them in and to be like, "What about Wes?" And like, so what about him? You're not denying that you guys are fundraising for these people. You're not denying what's going on there. You just use whataboutism. And then, I responded to him and I told him, your own client admitted these things. Your own client, talking about that situation, admitted that Cook did indeed brandish a firearm. She did indeed hide firearms. Now, they came up with excuses for it, but it's just so bizarre, man. Anyway, Connor, thanks for the 5 there for Shizzy yoga session.
Oh, I love it,
man. Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to go fundraise for a yoga session, man. There you go. That'd be a real.
I'd be lucky if I can bend over and touch my toes.
Yeah, that'd be the greatest, like yoga. That'd be me, man. I'd be like a beach turtle or something. You're like, oh, what's happening? I mean, people would love it. Everybody but me would love it.
We call this the downward dog that doesn't get up.
The put down dog. I know, please.
The sleepy dog.
They call it the old yeller. Please, no. It brings back bad memories. Like,
oh, poor
daily dysfunction. Thanks for the 2. Come on, folks. Please get those likes up. It's free. Indeed. If you want to, there's a need for you. Hit that like button. Share. Tell people to check it out for sure. Cynic, what's up, man? Thanks for the 2 there. Shizzy, we need to get Tug to do a Dollywood meetup. Dollywood,
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, Dollywood's coming up. The expert's going to be running at FNL. I believe it's, June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or 4th, 5th, and 6th. You have to check with the expert to know that one for sure.
They are going out to
get a place. Yeah, they're all going to meet up at Dollywood, and then there's going to be a live FNL where we'll be all on panel.
That might be. I'll think about it. I don't know. I was thinking my first public appearance. I have not been in public in a long time, but
hey, I mean, we had Vegas Rick showed up, and he wore a squirrel helmet the whole time last year. I wasn't there last year, but he wore a squirrel helmet or mask the whole time for FNL.
I think I'm too lazy to mask up again right now. Back at Anime Matsuri, I did. Boy, that was miserable, by the way. I had cosplayers. I really felt a lot better about cosplay. I mean, they put in some real work, because I wore that mask around for, after about 2 hours, I'm pouring in sweat. I can't see out of my freaking mask.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, no. It was crazy. So after that, I was like, man, these are hot. And somebody was like, hey, I can build you a mask with air conditioning, like vents in the sides. I was like, really? That would be interesting. So, I gave them money for it, of course, and they built one. It was amazing. It was
nice. Amazing. I love it.
Dollywood. I'll have to check that out. Mud Dog, thanks for the 2. BBB's last motion sound. Who? Written by someone else. We got that. I mean, there were new motions today, by the way. There were indeed. And we just, I mean, today we talked about this was the thing. And yeah, it needed to happen. Bridget, thanks for the 2. Did I see the breaking news? Yeah, that's what we played that. I'm glad y'all mentioned it too. If I wouldn't have thought about it, I would have pulled it up by now. My mind got on there. So I thank you. I thank you all for reminding me there. Weez Wills, thanks for the 10. Tuglet treat money. I hope it brings them a little joy. It winds up the haters. Win-win. Indeed. I think both of those actually do happen. So thank you. Carol, thanks for 5. Breadsticks. Yes, indeed. Love those breadsticks. Thank you, Carol. Pauline, thanks for that super sticker too. Like I said, if I miss a super sticker coming up, I always check them out afterwards. So thank you. Naomi, thanks for the 2. There's not a statement, but as I always say, this is its own statement. So thank you. Thank you for backing there. James, thanks for the 5. Hope JH brings up the ecosystem and these 2 people in the February 5th thumbnail case. Well, I think we're just getting started on what we're going to see with certain things.
Yeah, and these I don't think affect the thumbnail case whatsoever. These two don't. Now part of the ecosystem maybe, but it's not enough. I'll talk to you about this a little bit later.
Yeah, I have some ideas on something too, but I don't want to say it publicly yet. SF, thanks for you. How's this case gotten this batshit crazy? Honestly, cases, they accelerate. What happens with them? Now, this is way outside of the realm of the norm with this, but even in a typical, like say you cover a celebrity case, right? You have people that they either believe or they may be simps for that person. If they are,
Right.
when you run into them, they will try to wreck you. They get crazy. But this,
Yeah, this is far beyond that.
yeah,
Especially for something as low profile as this is. I mean, you have to think about this. There's actors and actresses that have more vitriol coming from and going to them than this does. I mean, but this one, just the amount of ridiculous filings that we've seen in this, that have, and the stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't know about, and that Char's deposition showed. Those kinds of things are like Jerry Springer level of, you can't, because in case people don't know, most of the stuff on Jerry Springer is made up stuff. Okay. They were paid actors and actresses to come in there. This stuff is like Jerry Springer on steroids. I've never seen anything get so crazy in my life.
oh, somebody sent me something. We'll have to check out a little bit too. I got your email by there, KD, I'll say. Also, SC sent a Cash App. Thank you. I said, go get them, Doug. Thank you. Definitely. Definitely. Thank you for that. Victoria, thanks for the 20 there. I love when a Dougette comes by. It reminds me what a good dad they have. It's a highlight for my listening pleasure. I appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoy like them busting in here and there, depending on the case. Like with this one, I asked my oldest daughter to, keep an eye on. So we got one raid instead of like 9 raids, and the raids are okay. They're fine. It's just the gravity of what we're talking about. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, and this one was pretty. Ew.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, Emmy, thanks for the 10 there. So this guy wants to create terms to fit his hate speech. Yeah, has no problem victimizing Chinese, the disabled, women. Actually, he he didn't just do that. Like the focus he wanted to say was, I only victimized the Chinese. No, he victimized business owners. I wonder if any of those business owners were Jewish, by the way. Yeah,
that'd be interesting to find
I'm
out.
sure that somebody in those companies that were defrauded, I'm sure they had at least one person heritage. And isn't that a tad hypocritical? But yeah, okay.
Just a tad.
Yeah, pot calling kettle black. Yeah, I mean the disabled thing, women, of course. Doesn't matter, right? Oh, gross. Amy, thanks for the 24 months. Thank you. 2 years there. Hey, Tug, glad to see you. Sorry, I'm so late. Different times. All good. All good. That's why I'll leave them up and check them out at your leisure. I'm in the UK, and I hope you and your family are doing well. Missed you. It's been a while. Well, I appreciate you there. You catch them up when you can. I'm glad. I realize the time zone makes it late too for some people. There's always a late time zone. That's the one thing I learned too. No matter where you are, there's always one. Daily dysfunction, thanks for the 5. Each case you cover, Tug. I like that you don't tell people what or how to think. You show them facts and evidence so everyone can make up their own minds. Yeah, that's what we need to do. I also want to encourage you. You pull your own documents and make your own conclusions. I have my own opinions, but you don't have to agree with me. I mean, that's 100%.
Yeah, that's always been the case. I think that's why it does make you so admirable and on top of your game with this, because you're just showing it. Same way with Megan. She just shows you what's going on, and you're welcome to make up your own mind.
Well, you're finding pieces. I mean, you do the same thing, man. You read, one of the things that I think the ecosystem is very dishonest about is they show you a manicured version of a document. They'll show you a highlighted version and say, this right here. And we know who highlights those versions. He sent out a bunch to people like Dave Neal. He was trying to get them to recruit. And Dave Neal, of course, was like, no way. But yeah, BBB sent out a bunch of those like that. So, I mean, that was even more telling. It just shows how the ecosystem works. They operate. They don't read entire documents. And especially if it's maybe a BBB document, they might sit down and be like, oh, look at that. And I had to get it wrong so much. I remember them celebrating the Gainesville.
Yes.
Like, yes, we're going to move this one to Gainesville. And it's like, yeah, you're still in Gainesville.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even catch that. I was just like, because even it was Volstorm. Yeah, Volstorm and I were talking about that, and he was just like, well, there's 3 parts of the Northern District, and you've got Gainesville, Pensacola, and there's another one I can't think of off the top of my head. They're all part of the Northern District. He goes, that was filed in Gainesville. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, there were people talking about it, and they like you said, they had the districts and they would map them out, and it was clearly evident. But before I even got to go in and make fun of that, it was decided the next day. So like, oh well, I'll make fun of it afterwards. Kelly, thanks for the 2 there. Oh, BBB file. Yeah, extra time today for February 5th. Indeed, he did. That's
yeah, he did.
Of course, he's trying.
I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow, maybe even in the morning, just because it's so ridiculous. But I've never seen a filing so bad.
Oh man, there's a couple of there's another filing that we'll talk about all that.
Yeah, we'll talk about those later.
Yeah, when they get there. SF, thanks for the 2. Damn it, now nasty. That's right.
Tug, you're nasty.
That's Papa Net if you're nasty. Actually, that sounds like you're really nasty if you say it that way.
I know it does, doesn't it?
That does sound very nasty, actually. Well, either it sounds like a bad workout thing, like you really did try out the yoga, or it sounds like something else. You're like, I really did do that, guys. Come on, it's not my nickname today.
They told me I couldn't bench 380 pounds. I did it anyway.
Sometimes Papa Nasty, someone said, indeed. I remember girls that was good. Melissa, thanks for the super chat there. It doesn't let you make a statement, but it is a statement now. Thank you. Appreciate you. Angela, thank you for the 10 there. Thank you for all your hard work. Hey, thank you for being here and checking it out. Again, there's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff. People drop documents. They do everything. There's a lot that goes in, and we go through, read, make sure that we understand things beforehand. There's a specific I don't want to ruin that document, Shizzy, but there's a specific document we were looking at that pertains to this person, and it's quite the internet. It actually deals with, and let's just say, I'll give a brief item side. Like I said, I don't want to give anything away with it because I want to understand it completely. But it deals with the role of advocacy, and actually, it's everything that you say is wrong. In fact, that whole thing that they accused Jeremy of with trying to take someone's kid. Well, it looks like somebody tried to do that. That's tying in with the ecosystem. They didn't, and of course, they will call it, oh, that's part of the advocacy. No, it looks like they did some absolutely crazy shit that's tied to it. And the courts were like, none of that, baby. So we'll see. Shooting Star, by the way. Thank you for the super sticker on that. Thank you. Actually, there's 2 of those. If you meant to do 2, I appreciate that. If you didn't, see if you can cancel one. If not, dispute one. Yeah, but I appreciate them. I just want to make sure that's in, because I can't see the sticker right here. That's why I have to look through them. I can't see if it's a different sticker. Shooting Star also, thank you for your membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for that membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. Thank you very much on that. Appreciate you. Taz, thanks for the 2. Do I need to loan you my 3.5 pound wannabe Roddy? No, I have a doorbell that reloads. You know, you don't want to ring it. Let's just say you can't unring that doorbell. So no, and I don't say that like as a chest pounding or anything. I actually don't want anybody to ever put me in a situation like that. But this ain't New York. You know, this is the deep freaking South. Like it's a different world than they're talking about. You may be able to bring in some mob muscle up in those areas, but man, like I said, this is the deep freaking South. Much different.
Much different thing happening. Yes.
Yep. And now, thanks for the 5 more rocket pops. Ooh, those are rocket pops, indeed. Actually, I think I do have to get more rocket pops. All right. Well, let's do one thing before we go, and that is talking about you subscribing to Shizzy Wisnut. If you haven't, you are a criminal. You must be disbarred.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
I mean,
if you haven't though, you should. You know, for sure. Shizzy's funny. She's a lot of fun to hang out with too. I try to get over there anytime I can. You know? But good reading. She gets dramatic reading. She get a lot of humor. It's just all around goodness and fun.
Well, and I also do the news in the morning. I've been doing that for.
I noticed, a morning news report. I'll have to see, when I can catch that, because I think that would be a lot of fun too.
Well, I do it so early, but that was something that in my process of doing the YouTube stuff, because I wanted to get better at just communicating an idea or a thought, and so it was more practice for me. And it started out, I think there was 10 people that were coming in there. And I mean, my mornings, I usually have anywhere between 100 and 200 people that are just kicking back. They're not really interacting in the chat. They're just listening to.
They're waking up. That's what it is.
Exactly. And I have a good time. And on Fridays, I have Mo in the Deep End. We rotate back and forth on Fridays between our channels. So, it's always good. It's always good.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna play that song at the beginning for an outro.
I love it. You should.
I'll do, man. All right. Well, I'm gonna play that, and then we'll end. So I appreciate you, folks. Tomorrow, I believe we are going to be on Megan's channel. I'm pretty sure about that. I think we were going to go over police, or maybe. I don't know, man. There's so much stuff that's come up. I don't know what we're covering yet. But that'll be fun. Megalodon's foe will be back in the fray. And afterwards, you're going to be afterwards too. So we'll redirect to Shizzy Wisnut.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to play the song. We are out here. See you, folks.
Welcome to the hat rack. Welcome to the hat rack. Welcome to the hat rack. Paging army of one. Flexing his limp, out of be a pimp. Digital wrecking ball, meet yet another dog mass simp. Arrested, more weird missions of admitted guilt. Barrels of tea just begging to be spilt. Scams, you mean there were lots of signs? You posted a few but can't read between the lines. Fraud and extortion, vast conspiracies. Off a 10K pushed by a set of fleas. It's that umbrella guy getting masked up. Loading the laugh track, gotta get tasked up. Convicts can't set the precedents. Listen and believe just isn't evidence. Rigging cameras on remote control. Defying orders, what a state of go. Pretending truth is a conspiracy while you're recruiting instability. What you doing, we know you know no. All because you can't get our own show. So you buy someone that's convicted of every lie you've ever depicted.
To quote the judge, He abused his status as a lawyer and conspired to commit fraud and extortion, pled guilty to wire fraud conspiracy, engaged in witness tampering, provided evidence to third parties in violation of a court order, created fake Facebook accounts and used them to disseminate information. He also allegedly tried to pay and dance on a falsely report essay by the Staten Island District Attorney, falsified Facebook and Twitter business records, leaked wiretaps, used threats to collect the legal debt purportedly owed by a co-conspirator, sent a threatening letter to his wife he believed was cooperating with the government, distributed discovery materials, and my favorite was ordered to pay $55.99 in restitution, forfeit $130,000 and was sentenced to 48 months incarceration. There it is, so you don't get it all twisted. That's a mic drop in case you missed. Just another case of wow, you fail while going after Jeremy